3rd. And tonight we've got Lakers basketball on San Diego Sports 760 when they take on OKC. Pre-game coverage will begin at 7:15 and the tip will be at 7:30. Pros, if something runs out on the job, order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered to your job site by 8 p.m. See terms at lowes.com/shipping. Terms and subject to change.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer.
When you think about the city of San Diego, some of the worst ownership groups with the Clippers situation, with the Chargers situation, even the Padres ownership history hasn't always been smooth sailing.
San Diego's own Alan Sliwa.
I felt like we went through a stage of baseball where everything was so predetermined. Why even have a manager? What's the point of having a manager?
Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? We are back. Schaefer and Sliwa. If you were wondering yesterday, did the show make it longer than the week? The answer is now yes. We had the national championship game yesterday on San Diego Sports 760. Now, I wasn't listening to that pregame coverage. Did that start at 3 in the afternoon? Yesterday? It did. So it did start at 3. So they had 3 hours of pregame.
I mean, imagine how prepared you were.
Oh, you were ready.
For by the time the game started. If you started pre at 3, you know more about that matchup between UConn and Michigan than I think anybody out there.
Alan, was longer than the game,
Mm-hmm.
which you and I are familiar with this because we've done a lot in our career. You and I are very similar in terms of what we've done in our career. We've done a lot of pre's and half times and post reaction, YouTube. There are times, I'm sure you've been in these situations before, where you end up spending like 2 hours on a game that was 2.5 hours. Like I've covered like Padres Dodgers playoff games where it's like the game was 2:20 and we're on for like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
We need like a 3-hour pre, like that. A solid 3-hour pregame show. That's a long pregame, but they got it in. We enjoyed. I don't know how you were yesterday, but it was honestly perfect for us. I mean, we're watching Padres baseball. First pitch was 3:40.
Perfect.
Going right into the national championship game.
Perfect.
You could kind of go back and forth. So if there's a day to have off, yesterday was kind of ideal for the both of us.
But did you do anything of interest? Like, did you get anything done? Like I for example, I never do this.
Okay.
Because I have a 7-year-old son and he makes my car look like a mess. So I don't really like to clean it that much because I know he's going to make it dirty. I don't know if that's weird, but I got my car detailed. So now I want no one in the vehicle.
Yeah, no, it's how do I put this? There's certain things the moment you get something cleaned or something like that, or if you take a shower, I'm like, I'm not even going to walk outside. Nothing. I don't want to do anything. I'm clean. The car is clean.
Exactly.
Something along the house is clean. You can't have anybody come to the house. That's that's good work out of you. You're just going to have to be by yourself in the car.
I got the car detailed and listen to this. I went even further. I got a massage.
Get out of here. Come on. John, stop.
I did.
Don't lie to the audience.
Not far from where you spend time, and not far from your neck of the woods, up in North County.
Okay.
I got an 85-minute massage. The issue is I'm super sore.
Wow.
John, are you a massage guy? Is that a weird question?
John, let me first off just start off the show by saying this. Things are going good.
Things are good. I got a car detail and massage.
85-minute massage. What time of the day is the 85? This was yesterday?
Yesterday.
Think about this for a second. Just for those that are driving around doing whatever they're doing, grinding away.
I'm kidding.
It's
a great point.
You went in from 1 p.m. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To about, is that 2:20, 2:25, 2:30?
Yeah,
okay. 2:30, 1 p.m. to 2:30 on a Monday.
Correct.
You had a massage.
And nobody else was there, I noticed. It was a good day.
That's good living right there.
Well, you know how it is. We work hard. It's like from the Aztecs to this.
No, that's fine. We could sell it as much as we want. But at the end of the day, for you to get an hour and a half in, I'm not a massage guy.
You're not?
No.
Well, my issue
because I just don't know what. I just haven't signed up for.
My issue is I leave there and I feel like I need to go to like the hospital because massages can be like very
sore?
intense.
I'm
very sore. I'm very sore.
Okay.
So I didn't go to the gym today because I got a massage yesterday. Let's get into the Padres, the Pirates, because they're going to get underway in about 35 minutes.
Honestly, I'd say 50-50. We can go back to massage.
We'll get there at some point, probably
whenever
after
you're ready.
The game starts.
Yeah.
Padres, it's amazing. This happens so much in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You say what? I mean, the last time we were on the air, which feels like it was like an administration ago, they were 2-5.
Yep.
And now they've won 3 straight. And the manner in which they won has been impressive as well, like overcoming deficits against Boston, for example. Then yesterday, behind Herman Marquez, they win 5-0. Now today they get Paul Skenes, and we'll get into it. But Paul Skenes, Jackson Merrill, obviously vying for the Rookie of the Year back in 2024. It went to Skenes, and remarkably, Skenes has not faced the Padres in his first 2 years in the major leagues. So this will be the first time the Padres face Paul Skenes. But a good weekend, I would say overall. You probably feel a little differently if you're a Padres fan right now at 5-5 overall.
Phenomenal.
Right?
I mean, think about, there was a lot of negative attention towards the Padres to start the season, as there should. Talk about some of the bats, nothing clutch happening. The game, they were boring. The game of baseball wasn't good. Like, there was nothing entertaining about it. And that's why every conversation that we've had, part of that conversation is, this is the start of the season. Let's give it a second. Give it 15, 20 games. Let it marinate a little bit. Can you be hovering around 500? And I think what they did Saturday, Sunday, and Monday completely changed the tune of how the start of the season began. You were 2-4 walking out of Petco Park. Nothing really to show for it. You start off with a loss against the Red Sox. And it's been great since then. I'll go back to, I think the thing to me that I care about the most over those 3 games, 2 of those games could have easily gone the other way. And Boston does have, if I'm correct, the worst record in Major League Baseball, or at least the AL, because I want to say they're 2-8 now, something like that. But I don't care. I don't care how they got there. Win the games that you're supposed to. But when Adrian Morejon gave up that run on Saturday night to tie the game at 2.
Yep.
That's a game that you just felt like the Padres are going to lose this game. For Tatis in a 2-2 count to get that double, to then put himself in a position for Ramon Laureano to get the off Chapman, to kind of have that comeback victory, the style that they did, that kind of set off. You play on Sunday, you're down 4-0. You find a way. I like how they won the games because they didn't come easy. You had to earn them, and it was actually the bats winning the games at the end rather than the pitchers.
I like the way you said it because, not all wins are created equal, although you take them all. To your point, I don't care if you're playing the Red Sox or the Rockies or the Dodgers. The wins are what matter. I mean, if it's 2-1 or 12-1, at the end of the day, that's what you want. But I will say, for me, the Sunday come from behind win was reminiscent of the 2024 season as a whole, where they overcame
a lot of those.
They overcame a lot of deficits. They had a lot of big innings in 2024, and one game doesn't make a season. I mentioned this last night on a YouTube show, but the idea that 2 years ago there was a game that showed 8-0 to the Cubs early. It was in April. It was like 6 games into the year, if that. And it was the night where Tatis hit 2 home runs and they won 9-8. They came back from 8-0 down. It was in 2024, right at the onset of their season. And I thought that was such a springboard moment. Like, we're never going to be out of a game. Like, we're going to find our way back into games. I don't know if this Boston game Sunday is going to be that or not. But to me, because their offense had really struggled the first 8 or 9 games of the season, just finding a way to overcome a deficit like that is very encouraging.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's the main thing. You showed some fight. Even down 4-0, you go up 6-4 after Machado gets a 3-run homer.
Right.
But Boston comes back and ties it at 6.
Yeah.
So there were moments over these last couple of games, other than yesterday, where there were gut punch moments that usually, if you go up 6-4 and they come back, they tie at 6, there's a good chance you might lose that game, especially on the road.
Yep.
You're up 2-1, and in the 8th, when you feel like you're in a good position because you're a bullpen, Boston ties it at 2 apiece. Those are games you typically lose. They didn't. They won both of those games. And then yesterday, they just dominated and give the Padres all the credit in the world going up against a team. The Pirates had won 5 in a row. But I don't think all wins are created equal, just like all losses aren't created equal. And there have been plenty of games, and, we could look at it over the years. It's like, I'm thinking of a game because I remember it exactly. I don't remember exactly, but I remember last season the Padres had a lead against Arizona. And I want to say they were up like 7-2 or 7-3. And in the last couple of innings, they lost that game 8-7. I'm like, this is devastating. Not all wins or losses are created equal.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And I will say this: not all, not all clubs are equal. Like you mentioned, the fact that the Pirates had won 5 straight.
Yeah.
You've got the number one prospect in the sport that was just called up. I just saw something about their local TV ratings that day were off the charts, better than Paul Skenes' debut. So my point is, like, Pittsburgh fans are aware locally of what's playing out. You have Paul Skenes on this team. Entering yesterday, you're 6-3 overall, winners of 5 straight. I think I have that right. Now I get it. Weather's not great. It's not San Diego and Pittsburgh. Newsflash.
There was nobody there yesterday.
They announced 8,400.
There was nobody there yesterday.
They announced 8,400,
which is always, which is telling you. I mean, anytime whatever they announce, that means it's inflated, right?
So what? So there's 4,000 people in the building, and then I think we'll have Kevin on later in the week. I think Kevin said to me 1,000 of those fans at least were wearing Padres gear. So just consider that. Like, we are so fortunate to be here with the way the fandom is around the Padres right now. It hasn't always been like this in San Diego with the fandom around the Padres.
Sure.
Not to say that everything's perfect right now. Padres are 5-5. But one thing we know, they're going to get back home this week and they're going to play the Rockies and they're going to give away a Manny Machado bobblehead on Thursday night.
Yep.
And guess what? There'll be 46,000 people there. Shouldn't take it for granted, is my point. Pittsburgh's a great sports town. They have 5,000 people at their baseball games.
What are the rules at a game like that? If you bought a ticket,
9 innings, the
in the upper section. If you bought a ticket in the upper section,
I'm walking third row, right?
I had this happen to me. I was a couple years ago. I was in Denver for a Lakers Nuggets playoff game.
Oh, cool.
So I'm still working, at ESPN at the time, and I'm there for a playoff game. I'm going to do pre, half, and post, all that. While there's a day off in between the two games,
Rockies.
I'm going to go catch a Rockies game.
Perfect.
There was 37 people at the Rockies game. There's nobody there. They're playing, I think, the Reds. So it was like...
And you probably bought something, just buy a
bought
ticket.
something
$20
to get it. No. It was like $7 to get in. And I think there was a little bit of a fee towards StubHub, too, and I still got in with $7. Yeah. So I remember I go to the outfield. I go get first thing I do, I grabbed a dog.
Yeah.
I grabbed a beer. I grabbed some peanuts. I'm like, this is great. It was actually beautiful out. It was sunny out. I tried going up, like there's all these seats. I tried going up, and this is kind of still in the outfield area. Usher, no, can't sit there. Where's your seat? I'm like, brother, there isn't anybody within 15 rows of me. You want me to sit on the actual seat? He's like, yes.
Oh,
so I don't know if Pittsburgh had the same rules yesterday, but that was it's pretty idiotic.
I feel like anytime you have fewer than 10,000 fans, all rules are off.
Of course, they're all off.
Wherever they want to sit, right? I mean, you have a 40,000 seat ballpark.
The guy was giving me the look,
people.
like he's like, "Who runs this place out here?" I'm like, "Apparently you do."
Apparently he does.
Apparently you do.
All right, let's get into Skenes and Merrill. Again, they vied for the 2024 Rookie of the Year. They will face off. Unlike football, we were like, oh, look at this quarterback matchup. Well, Mahomes, Allen, they don't play each other literally. They're not on the field at the same time. We'll see Skenes and Merrill on the field at the same time. Padres baseball coming up later this afternoon. Darren Smith will join us in 15 minutes. Mark Zeigler on the Aztecs in the portal at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, SDFC is back home at Snapdragon Stadium Saturday night when they take on the Minnesota United. Pregame coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760.
On cue, because Darren Smith will join us at 3:30.
Phenomenal.
Now, SDFC.
The hell happened on Saturday?
I was going to say, now, I just looked at the Western Conference standings. I don't know the last time you went to MLSsoccer.com or whatever. You know, last year, SDFC for most of the year was among the best teams, not just in the league, not just in the West, but in the league, right? And it is early. We can get into this with Darren. But there are some teams in the West that have been unbelievable. San Jose is one of them. I think LAFC is one of them. And now all of a sudden you look up, and again, it's early, a little bit like we talk about. I
want to say Vancouver's there too.
Vancouver maybe, but SDFC, they're 6 or 7 points back, 6th or 7th place in the standings. Again, we'll talk to Darren about it, but again, a year ago, I don't think they were ever 6th or 7th place in the standings.
No, they weren't.
Right?
No, they weren't. And I watched a game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just wasn't a game. And like you said, San Jose, and listen, I'm
very good.
I think we're all watching this in the last year and change. All of a sudden, MLS is on the map in San Diego for obviously good reason. Plus, SDFC had such an unbelievable start to the season and get all the way to the semifinals. I mean, it was just unbelievable to watch. So now there's a little bit of expectations, and this is going to be the interesting conversation with Darren. They came out of nowhere last year.
Yeah.
Now is everybody properly prepared for them? Kind of know what to expect. There's no more catching anybody off guard. I mean, you carried your weight for an entire season.
Yeah.
So teams had plenty of time to, figure you out. Just obviously very impressive last year, but that was last season.
Yeah, we'll talk to Darren about it coming up in about 10 minutes. Now, coming up later this afternoon, Padres and Pirates from PNC Park. Say that 3 times. Paul Skenes on the mound for the first time against the San Diego Padres. You go back to 2024, he got 23 first-place votes for the Rookie of the Year. Merrill, I think, had the other 7. It was a relatively close vote because, again, Jackson Merrill got 7 first-place votes out of 30. I remember we spent a lot of time on this station discussing this race. You had Skenes and his brilliance for a team that was never competitive or contending for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And you had Jackson Merrill, a central figure for a very good team that made the postseason. And, in 2024 was the team that led the Dodgers 2-1 in the NLDS. So not to necessarily rehash it, but it was an interesting conversation then, and it'll still be an interesting conversation moving forward, just watching the arc of these two players' careers. One's a pitcher, one's a position player. They both have been terrific for their clubs. Skenes has gotten all the national attention. Merrill's gotten a lot of local attention. And I'm curious to see what it looks like here tonight when they score off for a first time.
Yeah, it's funny. Going back to 2024, I think at the end of the day, what's the number one? Any San Diegan, all they care about is, we get a championship. Can we freaking win a World Series? Can we just have something to celebrate? And maybe I pay less attention to some of the individual awards. I didn't in 2024. 2024, I was like, Jackson Merrill is properly representing San Diego.
Right.
He's having an unbelievable rookie year. I think it just came down to timing. He just happened to have an unbelievable season while Paul Skenes was doing unbelievable things somewhere else. And if I remember correctly, I think the big conversation was, did Skenes make enough starts to earn himself the Rookie of the Year honor? And it did mean a lot. I think it meant a lot for people because you also wanted to see just a young stud representing San Diego. How many different times you get somebody like that representing all of Major League Baseball? But fast forward to today, none of that stuff really matters at this point. I think for me, just Paul Skenes on the mound is cool. What'd be cooler is if you just get a W and you get for the first time this season, you're a game over 500, whether that was Skenes or it wasn't. I know the Padres have never faced him. But they got a battle tonight. They got something on their hands tonight, which I'm looking forward to seeing because the bats have done well these last couple of games. They've been clutch. Now you're going up against one of the best pitchers out there.
You and I were downtown when the Padres played their opener. At the same time, the Pirates are playing their opener against the Mets. And the line indicates that Skenes had as bad of a start as he's had in his career. But he was also done in by his defense, which actually played out again yesterday where the Pirates defense let them down a lot as well in game 1 of that series. Now, Skenes bounced back. He went 5 innings, 1 run against Cincinnati. I don't really, this early in the season, honestly, I don't even know what to expect. Like Skenes has had 2 terrific years, 24 and 25. Is he going to be that exact same player this year? I have no idea. But I do like the fact that the Padres come in on the heels of a 3-game win streak. And the offense has been better, double-digit hits in each of their last 2 games, for example. So, it's early. You kind of knock on wood and hope that Skenes isn't going to throw 7, 8, 9 innings in a game like this because it's early in the year. Can they make him work? Can you get a couple of runs off him? And with Nick Pivetta on the mound, you'd feel good potentially scoring a couple of runs off Paul Skenes here today.
Yeah, it's interesting because so far this season, and we knew this was going to be the case, a lot of conversation about the Padres was going to be, hey, this is going to be tough because you got Skubal to start off the year. You got Logan Webb. You got Skenes was coming up at some point. They had some good pitchers that they're going to be facing. And frankly, they haven't done, they haven't done terrible, but they also haven't done great. This is kind of one of those opportunities in front of you. This is the type of caliber pitching you're going to be facing if you get to the postseason.
Great point.
You're going to face just the best of the best. So you can't really make any excuses and say, oh, we're just waiting for the Rockies. No, you also got, I'm sure for Nick Pivetta's looking at this game saying, let me get another opportunity against another ace because I didn't do the job I was supposed to do against Skubal to start the season, Padres opening day. He'll get another opportunity against Skenes.
Yeah, and what about me? Everyone talks about Paul Skenes. What about Nick Pivetta? By the way, Mason Miller, if he appears tonight, will be appearing where he grew up. He grew up a Pirates fan. He grew up just outside Pittsburgh, looking to appear potentially tonight in the close spot for the Padres. Let's talk to Darren Smith on the other side about the Padres 5-5 start, about SDFC falling this past weekend to San Jose and more. So Darren Smith with SDFC, Friar Territory podcast on YouTube as well with Marty Caswell, friend of the show, of course. He'll join us on the other side. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Padres and Pirates are getting set for game 2 of their series. It's going to be Nick Pivetta going against Paul Skenes. It's going to be Skenes' first time pitching against the Padres. First pitch is set for about 10 minutes from now at 3:40. In NFL news, Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 pick in the draft, has informed the league that he is not going to attend the draft. Mendoza would be the latest top pick to not attend the draft in person. Javon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped the draft when they were taken number 1. The draft will be held in Pittsburgh with the first round beginning on April 23rd. And tonight we've got Lakers basketball on San Diego Sports 760 when they take on OKC. Pregame is at 7:15 and the tip will be at 7:30. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more at crohnscolitisfoundation.org.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. Great to welcome back on the station Darren Smith. Catch him everywhere, doing the Friar Territory podcast on YouTube right now. Still has the Section 1904 podcast. You can hear him on SDFC broadcasts. And Darren, this is your first time on Schaefer and Sliwa. That must be, I mean, you've done so much in your career, but this must be up there.
It's got to be tops.
Top 5,000 moment or something like that.
Yeah, congratulations officially, but I've stuck around long enough that I can say that I am now a guest on Schaefer and Sliwa. Yeah, this is the real reason why I'm hanging around doing a bunch of dopey podcasts. So eventually I could wait for this union and I could come on the show and I could celebrate with you guys. So thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity and just one more box to check off my career.
It is great. It is great to have you with us. We want to start with SDFC. Saw the result, obviously. I saw some of your writing as well. What you talked about earlier today. They've had all these red cards this year. They're coming off a shutout loss. You just look at the Western Conference standings. I know it's early, and last year we saw them towards the top of the standings all year. So how would you just describe the 6-match start to the year so far for SDFC?
Mixed. I think there's some ways of looking at it where, you could say on a points per game basis, right, spread out over 34, they're actually ahead of their pace from last year. On a goals per game, goals per 90 pace, they're ahead of where they were last year. So, there are some underlying metrics that are actually better than they were for an entire season of what was a record-setting season for San Diego Football Club. So there's some things to like. They have a 19-year-old goalkeeper who already has 3 clean sheets in 6 MLS matches. So, five MLS matches he didn't start in Dallas. So, there's things that you like there, but there are some things I think that they just have to clean up. And one of those is that they've been put in the book way too many times, and it's had an impact. There's no real one reason why they have had these red cards, but I do think they've had a cascading effect where a guy misses a game, and then you have to make a plan to account for his absence in the next game, and maybe that guy isn't quite at the level where you need him to be, and then somebody else makes a mistake, and then that player gets sent off. So it's a lot. They've seen 5 red cards in 10 competitions, between the 6 MLS matches and the 4 CONCACAF Champions Cup matches. So it's got to get fixed. It's got to get fixed. They're going to be without Monodua coming up on Saturday night. He's maybe their best defender and one of their most exciting players. So you're going to have to search for an option to replace him. But I don't think the sky is falling. I don't think it's a crisis. But, I think there's one thing that absolutely has to get cleaned up, and it is that they have really seen too many cards, too many yellow cards and straight red cards so far in 2026.
Darren Smith joined us here on Schaefer and Sliwa. Darren, I know last year, obviously, just an incredible year for SDFC. I'm sure a surprise for many to see the type of success that they had. What are some of the expectations this year? I mean, if it, just as realistic as you can be, take fans out of the mix of what they want to see or what they're hoping for around MLS. What are the expectations for SDFC?
Well, I think expectation around the league is that SDFC would not be as successful in the second season. And some of that is because, now people are aware of who they are. Part of that also is other teams have gotten better. LA Galaxy, you guys were talking about it before the bottom. Yeah. LA Galaxy has started its season with 6 straight shutouts. That's amazing. That's, I think, an MLS record. So they're flying. You mentioned the way San Jose looks to be a better side. Real Salt Lake, to me, looked like it was a better team. So I think there's an expectation that it wouldn't be quite as good, and that's okay. 63 points, that's a lot of points. Finishing first in the West, that's amazing. There are teams that have been around this league for a long time that have never done that. So I think it's okay. I think, though, that most people expect that they're still going to be a playoff team. Internally, they do want to get better. They do want to get younger. They do want to improve on their style. They thought last year was all about building a foundation, and this year was focusing on some of the details. So they still have plenty of time to do that. They were involved in this competition that they've never been involved with before. I think they had mostly success. They got out of the first round against a really good Mexican League team in Pumas. They beat Toluca down a man for most of the match at Snapdragon Stadium, and they got blown out at a night where most teams would have gotten blown out. So I think they're hanging their hat on the experience of the early season tournament. I do think that they will level out here a little bit. Everything's been a little herky-jerky. Everything's been a little rushed. Everything's just been a little disjointed. I expected more, quite frankly, coming out of the international window against San Jose, but the red card again showed its ugly head in the 30th minute, and it completely changed the whole course of the match. They think they're a playoff team, and they think that they're going to be in competition to win something. And they'll play in Leagues Cup coming up later this summer, another one of these competitions that we're all getting used to. And, they do really feel like they're a team that has an established foundation for how it's going to play and what it's going to look like. And now it's just about, improving the details. And I think they also are probably eyeing the summer transfer window to, add some reinforcements here once we get through the World Cup cycle.
You can listen to SDFC Minnesota United Saturday. Snapdragon Stadium, 7:30 is the start time. And of course, Darren will be on the call. Darren Smith with us right now on San Diego Sports 760. Let's turn our attention to the Padres. 10 games in, we finally get to see, in just a handful of minutes, Darren, we get to see Paul Skenes against the San Diego Padres, the first time in his career. We get to see Jackson Merrill, obviously, in the lineup as well. They vied for that Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. Is this intriguing to you, seeing the Padres for the first time against Skenes? Because, again, early in the year when they faced guys like Tariq Skubal or Framber Valdez, they didn't have success. Could tonight be a night where they do have some success against a high-caliber starting pitcher?
Yes and no. I mean, I think what Sliwa said about the Rookie of the Year competition, and I'm wired the same way. These individual awards, I don't care for them all that much. The whole MVP thing is very weird. But, I did think that Jackson got the short end of the stick a couple seasons back because he was on a competitive team. He was an integral part of a winning team that won 93 games. Right. That should matter. And you only get one opportunity to be the Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean? So, there's nothing Jackson Merrill could do in these 4 at-bats tonight that will get that back, get that opportunity back. And that stunk for me because I objectively thought he was a more important player. But, hey, baseball's got to try to promote itself in some capacity. I think the thing that's interesting tonight is there's a reason why you had Nick Pivetta start opening day, is because you want Nick Pivetta to be the kind of pitcher that you're going to match up with another team's ace. So he didn't do it in his first appearance, didn't do it against Tariq Skubal, recovered, but the story was written in the first inning. Second opportunity through, maybe a little bit different for Pivetta, but this is why you think a guy like that should start at opening day, because you think he is every bit the caliber of pitcher that you're going to face on nights like tonight. So I'm curious about it. I'm more curious about this game than I was about last night's game, than I will be about tomorrow morning's game. I do think it is interesting to watch and see how they perform against one of these better pitchers in the sport. And, he's the guy that gets most of the publicity when we come to these conversations. But I also think it's a big night for Nick Pivetta to show on a stage opposite a pitcher of this caliber that he's worthy of that kind of conversation as well.
Yeah, and we were talking about a little bit earlier, the excuses of, but they're facing a lot of good pitchers. And yeah, that's the entire postseason. You're going to face good pitching. So obviously that can't be an excuse. Was listening to your podcast this morning with Marty, Friar Territory. The 2-5 start to now 3 wins in a row. I know there's always an overreaction, and just the way they played through those first 7 games. What did you make of Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Anything specific that stood out to you to put the Padres back at 500?
I thought Fernando's at bat against Chapman on Saturday after he had punched out 4 times and was probably embarrassed. And he's up there and he's in an 0-2 hole. I think he was 0-2 or 1-2, something like that. And I'm watching going, like, what's happening? And he contributed to the game-winning run. He scored the game-winning run, and Ramon Laureano backs him up. I'm super fascinated by the way the lineup is constructed every single day. Are we 11 for 11?
11 for 11. Yep.
We have a new lineup today.
Yep.
Good for them.
Yep.
I'm now, they're committed to the bit. So I'm
going for a record
about that. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm glad to know that. But I just think scoring late, showing a little bit of the grit that they came to relish in last season, and then opening it up against a really, really good pitcher on Sunday mattered. They've scored more than 3 runs in a game, back-to-back games. So that was a thing that they hadn't really done much of up until the last couple of days. So I don't know what to make of the Red Sox. They're the worst team, but it's one of those damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you lose to a team like that, it's terrible. But if you beat a team like that, well, I don't know exactly what it is that you've proven, but not our problem. The Red Sox aren't our problem. The Padres are, and this is better. That's what you can say about what they did over the weekend against the Red Sox. It is better than what it was that we saw at least through the first 6 at Petco Park.
I'll take a U-turn real quick with you, Darren, because I want to know what it was like for you. Your alma mater, St. John's, correct me if I'm wrong, hadn't been in the Sweet 16 since when, 99?
99.
99.
Yeah. 27 years.
But now they've been back. But not only that, you had a chance to see your alma mater in San Diego in the NCAA tournament. Now, I don't think you were in that round of 32 game because SDFC was playing, but that was an iconic game, obviously. One of the more memorable games of the tournament. What was it like, being in the building for the round of 64 and then watching them get to the Sweet 16 for the first time since, a quarter century plus ago?
Well, none of that was as enjoyable as watching UConn lose last night. But,
the best. The best.
I kid. I half kid, actually. I don't know. Am I kidding? I'm not sure.
Right.
I've got some deep scars from this program. It was great. I mean, it was great to see some of the St. John's fans get a moment to enjoy winning. I've never seen them win an NCAA tournament game in person, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
So, and I've been a fan of this team for my entire life. I'm 53 years old. That's the first time that I ever saw St. John's win an NCAA tournament game in person. And you're right, I was unable to go to the game where they win against Kansas. I would have loved to have been there, but we had a broadcast, so I shut it out. It's been many years where you sort of just have given up, where it feels hopeless. And, if it can happen to a program like mine, it could pretty much happen to any program. Right. So I'm glad to see them back. I think that they're playing the game pretty well. Obviously, we see what's happening here on the local level when it comes to San Diego State, transfer portals and NIL. And we do have the ability to play the game a little bit differently because we're a program that doesn't have a football school, so we don't have to worry about that level of revenue share.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad to see it. And, it seems like they've definitely energized and juiced the program a little bit, which is good to see. I mean, college basketball it's got its issues for sure. There's no doubt about that. But, selfishly, I was really proud. It was nice to be proud of your alma mater for its basketball success for a change, rather than always talking about how they're terrible and they're on probation and players are getting kicked out of the program because they're soliciting hookers. So, this was much better than that.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's probably a better storyline for everybody there.
Yeah.
Darren, great stuff, brother. We appreciate you coming on the show. Obviously, look forward to having you on soon again. Pre-game coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. That's coming up on Saturday. That's Darren Smith right there.
Darren, appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, fellas. Have a great day.
All right, great stuff. Again with Darren Smith. We can react to that. Plus, a very interesting case made by the Fab Five for former Aztec head coach Steve Fisher.
I'm in.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating, and I thought it was on cue as well. We'll share the details of that on the other side right here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We can get to this conversation that we were just having off air. Well,
yeah.
The Fab Five had some really praiseworthy things to say about Steve Fisher, who I've made this point recently on social media. How is Steve Fisher not in the Hall of Fame? And the Fab Five agree, and you'll hear from them coming up. We'll have that conversation maybe.
We're going to have all 5 of them on.
Yes, that's exactly right. Chris Webber
the
will join
whole
us at 4 and 5. I wish. So Paul Skenes, you've heard of him, Alan?
I have heard of him.
So Paul Skenes on the mound today for the
linebacker
Pirates.
For the Steelers.
For the Bears. As we know, I mean, this guy, very few pitchers in baseball history have burst onto the scene like Paul Skenes has with the Pirates.
Yep.
Now, of course, the issue is it's like bursting onto the scene with the Cleveland Browns or bursting onto the scene with the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really burst onto the scene with those teams.
Can I just give one observation?
Yeah.
Why so many strays at the Charlotte Hornets? I feel like since we started the show, they came up 3 or 4 times.
Where do you go? Like, honestly, I want to know now.
Charlotte's a good pick. That's a good
worst NBA. Would you put New Orleans? They got Zion, and that he's been irrelevant.
Sacramento, I think, is one of the worst run. Now they've made the
doubt.
playoffs, but they've made the playoffs in this last 5 years.
They had a good team like 3 or 4 years ago,
with
right?
De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, so they did.
Team.
So maybe I can't put them in there.
No, you could put the King. What would you say?
The
Kings,
Washington
Pelicans,
Wizards
Hornets?
are the worst run franchise. I think that one is the one.
I'll start using Wizards. I'm glad you did that.
Because Charlotte is right now in the playoffs. So all I'm trying to do is let's just lay off of the Hornets a little bit here.
Little known fact, because my dad was in D.C., my mom was in Philly when I was growing up.
Yeah.
We were Bullets season ticket holders at Landover Arena.
Really?
You should see that place. I mean, the Bullets back in the day were cool because they were the Bullets.
Sure.
That was the only reason they were cool. But you're right. They've been a terrible organization for forever. Going back to like Wes Unseld. You have to go back like 50 years for them to be relevant.
Charlotte hasn't been good either. You're
good point.
Yeah, you're good.
Anyway, so we all know the Pirates are irrelevant. But let's say they were to build something short-term around Skenes. They invest a little more. Ryan O'Hearn, for example, comes over as a free agent, right? They've gotten off to a good start. Let's say they navigate their way to the postseason, Alan, in 2026 or 2027. I mean, you're still not signing Paul Skenes long-term, right?
No, you're not.
He's not going to stick around.
He's under contract through 2029.
Correct. So
through
3
the
years
2029 season.
Yep.
Yeah. The scenario that we're playing out, it's like, that Paul Skenes is probably going to end up with one of the big markets making God knows how much money, whatever amount that is.
$400 million.
Here's the question I have if you're the Pirates. At what point do you trade him? Because Pittsburgh is kind of thought of being a little bit more up and coming. Maybe they can make a run at a playoff this year. Maybe they could stay into the mix and be a little bit of a headache. Probably a headache for the Padres. You're looking at the standings. You're saying to yourself,
possibly.
Okay.
I agree.
With that in mind, what if they make the playoffs? Okay, what if they make the playoffs again next year? Like, what are you selling to Pittsburgh if you have Paul Skenes, you've been in the postseason, you're trying to make some kind of noise potentially in the place? Like, what a cool experience for Pirates fans. And then you're like, yeah, we're 2 years away, which is probably the right time to trade one of your stars.
Is your value.
You're 2 years away. Yeah. Somebody's going to give you what you're looking for, get back a haul, but you also just got rid of Paul Skenes. So what's like the future for like, why would anybody buy a ticket to go watch the Pittsburgh Pirates play?
Well, they don't.
That part is true too.
It's 40 degrees in April, but I mean, they've got an unbelievable ballpark. It's comparable to Petco Park, yet nobody's there because they don't win. But here's the other thing. Let's say the Pirates offered Paul Skenes a fair deal. Let's say they offered him the richest deal in baseball history for a starting pitcher or a pitcher in general. If you're Skenes, do you sign the dotted line on that? Like, are you committing yourself to an organization that hasn't won a playoff series since Barry Bonds was there? Like, are you willing to trust that organization? Yeah, they gave me 415.
What year was that with Bonds?
91, 92.
Oh my God!
Right, look that up. When's the last time the Pirates were in 1-game wild cards? I think 3 straight years and lost all 3. I think with McCutchen. I could be wrong on that. Or best of 3 series. I don't think they've won a playoff series in 35 years. Something like that, which is insane.
I think if you are Skenes, no, I'm not signing a long-term contract with Pittsburgh because I just know what the organization is. And by the way, completely fair. If you told me that Skenes came up with the Cardinals, it's a much different conversation. He came up with the Giants, it's a much different conversation. There's certain teams in the NL where you're like, no, I actually trust ownership. Or I trust that organization. You don't trust it here. The only point that I'm making is, let's say in a couple years they are in the playoffs. And here's Paul Skenes. He's dealing in the postseason. and there's 2 years left on his
rookie deal.
On his rookie deal under team control, right? Let's just say there's 2 years left. And the conversation is going to be about, well, now we got to get rid of Paul Skenes. Like whatever comes after that, we know why Juan Soto got traded to the Padres. We know why some of these guys, these younger players, because Juan Soto was eventually going to, it's why the Padres ended up trading Juan Soto's, because they knew that they're not going to give him 700 and change or whatever he got with the Mets. But man, what a deflating thought if you're somebody from that Pittsburgh Pirates organization.
Brian, what do you got on the Pirates?
The Pirates' last playoff appearance was in 2015. They lost the NL wildcard game to the Cubs.
Yep.
Their last playoff win was way back in 2013 when they beat the Cardinals in Game 3 of the National League Division Series.
They're on a heater.
Wow, so they did win a series in 2013. Before that, Brent, 91, 92?
I didn't say they won the series. They won a game.
Oh, no. Okay, when's the last time they won a series?
They won a series.
When's the last time they won a series? I'm assuming it's
by the way,
Barry Bonds.
Do you put up a banner for that? You won a game in 2013.
I don't think you. No, but they probably put like NL wildcard participant or whatever.
I actually don't even know. Hopefully, we're very strategic with our banners. I don't know what's up.
They got some banners up there.
Yeah,
for appearances. I think so. Hold on, I can't go to break without knowing the last time the Pirates won a playoff series. Like that's here it is. Dude, they lost the NLCS in 92, 91, and 90. I'm assuming that was the first playoff round. It was. The last time they won a playoff series was the 1979 National League Championship Series.
Real. That can't be real.
It's real.
The World Series.
Because they won the World Series. Okay, so their last playoff series win was the World Series, and they won the NLCS.
By the way, I would take that in a heartbeat. If you told me the last time the Padres have won a series was 1979, and it was a World Series.
You would take that.
Incredible.
But they were in the NLCS in 90, 91, and 92. A 6-game series loss, a 7-game series loss, a 7-game series. That's Sid Bream, right?
Years.
Sid Bream. Yeah. I mean, you're going way, way back. All right, we're going to get to the wrap. On the other side, we'll get into Steve Fisher and his Hall of Fame candidacy. Candidacy is brought up by the Fab Five during the Final Four this past weekend as well. Here until 6 p.m., we've got giveaways, presumably. I haven't even looked at the rundown. We do. We've got great giveaways for you here today that we'll share with you on the other side. Stay with us here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres and Pirates have game 2 going on right now. At the top of the second, there's no score between the Pirates and the Padres. It's Nick Pivetta going for the Friars and Paul Skenes pitching for Pittsburgh. In NFL news, Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 pick in the draft, has informed the league that he's not planning on attending the draft in person. Mendoza would be the latest top pick to not attend the draft in person. Trayvon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped the draft when they were taken number 1. The draft will be held in Pittsburgh this year, with the first round beginning on April 23rd. And tonight we've got Lakers basketball when they take on OKC. Our pregame coverage will begin at 7:15, and the tip is at 7:30. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service. It keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer.
When you think about the city of San Diego, some of the worst ownership groups with the Clippers situation, with the Chargers situation, even the Padres ownership history hasn't always been smooth sailing.
San Diego's own Alan Sliwa.
I felt like we went through a stage of baseball where everything was so predetermined. Why even have a manager? What's the point of having a manager?
Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, Schaefer and Sliwa on this Tuesday afternoon. Listen to these giveaways. We'll get to the wrap coming up. We once again have a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place to give away, which I think is a terrific giveaway for our listeners, especially those with families. So we've got a 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place to give away. Then we've got a major concert giveaway, Pink at Petco Park.
Oh, very nice.
We've got a pair of tickets to see Pink at Petco Park on May 15th. And we'll give those tickets away this hour. We'll give the Pink tickets away this hour. And again, that's at Petco Park coming up on May 15th. Are you a concert guy? Would I paint you with that brush?
I like concerts, but kind of more of a smaller, intimate. So I like
80,000 seat.
Can't do that. Okay. No, not doing that. I like reggae music. So reggae is my jam. So for reggae, those are going to be small shows, they're Belly Up's a perfect example. They're going to be great shows. What's the other one in downtown? Is it Music Box? Is that what it's called? I think it's called that. I think that's what it's called. There's a good artist coming. I might go a week from today. There's a good reggae artist. His name's Protege. So
okay, cool.
But I'm not big concerts, small concerts.
You like small concerts?
You like festivals, like a music festival, something like
festival.
that?
Yeah, I love a good festival.
You take me as a guy that likes to go out, tell the wife and the kid, I'll be back in 3 days. I'm going to a music festival.
Like, I'm not going to what's this weekend? In Palm Springs.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Coachella. Yeah.
Coachella. Like, I'm not going to Coachella.
Yeah, I'm not
now,
going
I think that would be cool.
It would have been cool 20 years ago.
Exactly.
It's not cool at this stage of our lives.
Yeah, like, can I bring my 7-year-old to Coachella?
Probably not going to bring the 7-year-old.
That, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know who's performing at Coachella this year.
So many people that I'm not interested
one
in.
Act.
No.
It's like 3 days.
By the way, this is great because I think this is where you and I will connect a lot. Sounds like we both are not crazy about, like, we both have a similar vibe in certain things.
Yeah, I don't think music, by the way. I really do.
But I don't think you and I are going to go to a Coachella and we can share that together.
That we won't do it. Like, if I was alive during Woodstock, I'm not going. I have no interest in going and sitting like in the rain for like 5 days and up.
I think if I'm 25 and under,
you're going to Woodstock.
I don't know if I'm going to Woodstock, but I can be convinced to go to Woodstock.
Interesting.
If I'm 26 years old, I think that's when it kind of started.
I'm
like, I want to be nowhere anymore.
I can be convinced of watching Woodstock on television. That's what I could do. But I can't be. I'm not good with like being outdoors. It's a weird. Like,
outdoors, I like I just don't need a lot of other people there.
I don't need like a tent and rain and mud, and I don't need that. Anyway, we'll give away Pink tickets coming up later this hour. Right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Are the Lakers cooked?
I think that I couldn't be in a better position. I think they got everybody fooled.
This is where it starts.
By the way, tonight, just so everybody knows, if you are watching some NBA basketball.
Yeah.
A week ago, if I said Thunder Lakers, you'd be like, hey, kind of interesting matchup. Tonight, no LeBron, no Austin Reeves, and no Luka Doncic. Are the Lakers cooked? They're cooked. I think they were going to be cooked either way, as in, I don't think they're getting past the Oklahoma City Thunder, but probably need your best players if you're going to make any noise in the playoffs, and it doesn't look like they're going to have that opportunity. So, yes, I think they are cooked.
I don't even know who's on this roster. Is Bronny currently on?
Yeah, Bronny's there. Yeah.
Is this that
Rui Hachimura might drop 67 tonight.
That's so funny. I was going to say, is this the night Bronny drops 84? Somebody's going to need to score for the Lakers. They're 18-point underdogs at home, correct? At home.
At home.
They're 18-point underdogs.
They don't have anybody.
They're cooked, dude. They're cooked. I mean,
unfortunately, they're nowhere, near the conversation. Now, there's a lot of other good NBA teams. I think the playoffs are going to be very entertaining. I'm a big NBA fan to begin with, but from a Laker perspective, that's.
What about real quick? Isn't Luka going to see specialists overseas?
Yeah,
to get it? So could that change anything? Could he?
Here's the problem. Even if he's got a grade 2 hamstring strain, right? I think that in itself is like a 3 to 6 week injury. So he's going to go. It's in Spain where he's doing this, procedure. Wow. Try to speed up the process. Even if, let's say, he speeds up the process. Let's say you're back in 3 weeks. Yeah. Let's say you came back in 3 weeks. You're probably already 3 games into the first round. So now you got to kind of start, or 2 games. Let's say you got to start asking yourself if you're the Lakers, is it worth it? I mean, you're going to have them go up against the Houston Rockets who are going to play physical, who are going to try to. You know how the NBA works, and if you're not healthy or something's bothering you, teams are going to take advantage of it.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you. All right, Lakers might be cooked. Next question.
Might be cooked, yeah.
Who wins next year's men's national championship in basketball?
You know what happens?
It's hard to predict.
Yeah, you know what happens every single
Duke's
year.
odds on favorite.
Oh.
Duke's odds on favorite. Here's what happens every single year in every sport. The moment somebody wins, you're like, that's it. Nobody's going to beat them. They're going to beat. They're going to win again. And I'm talking about any sport. You talk about the NFL. You talk about Major League Baseball, whatever the case is. I can't give you an answer and give you an honest answer of who's going to win just based off of what you just said. But what Michigan did last night and how good they were all season long, you just got to imagine, of course, Michigan's going to be in the mix. But if Duke is the favorite, I don't have a good answer on this one unless you already know what next season's top 5 teams are, top 5 schools are.
How can you even know that? Duke is plus 800. Michigan is plus 1,200, 12 to 1.
I'd go Michigan then.
Florida and Arizona, 14 and 15 to 1, respectively.
I know it won't be Arizona.
Because they just don't do it.
They just don't do it.
And Duke
they
feels
get there, they just don't do it.
And Duke feels due, truthfully. I mean, they haven't won either of the last 2 years under John Shire is almost beyond me, but maybe that's now becoming mental also the next time they make the tournament. I have no idea. By the way, all these rosters are going to turn over so significantly. All of them, whether it's Michigan that just won a national championship or San Diego State. Mark Zeigler will join us coming up at 5 p.m. I kid you not, half of Division I players will be in the portal. Half of them. So every single roster is going to turn over significantly over the next 2 weeks. It's just the nature of the beast. Next question.
Do you wait to buy tickets to an NBA game because of injuries?
I'm not going to wait. This kind of came down to the conversation we were having a little bit earlier. Imagine if 2 weeks ago you said, I'm going to spend big money to go watch the Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Lakers were playing better basketball. Thunder are the class of the NBA. It's your last chance to get to see the Thunder this season. Obviously, we know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, everything else. You're going to walk into tonight's game at Crypto. Whatever you paid, if you paid $300 a ticket, $500 a ticket, $150 a ticket, it doesn't matter. You're going to see a lot of Luke Kennard, Jake LaRavia, which I know is your guy. You love watching Jake LaRavia.
Oh, I love him.
I mean, how many times have I walked in the studio and you're like, man, I can't wait to see Jackson Hayes tonight.
It's that pull-up game.
But I don't think I can wait. I think if I'm buying tickets, I think I got to just buy tickets and just take the chance.
But what if I was buying tickets right now for tonight? I think I want to wait. Because now, if I did wait the 2 weeks, if I go to, SeatGeek right now, how much is Lakers Thunder for tonight? Now it is the Thunder defending champs. Can I get into the building for $64 tonight?
Probably not for
That's cheap, right?
A Laker game.
Right.
Clipper game.
Clippers tomorrow. Lakers
big difference.
Or Clippers
Thunder.
Now Clippers are quote unquote healthy, right? I mean they're healthier than the Lakers. I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. Here's what I would say. My wife has literally lost sleep over this Clippers game she's going to tomorrow night with my 7-year-old son.
I think she's still okay. Okay because I don't think they'll have clinched. And a lot of these teams in the NBA, if you can clinch your seed before this weekend, because this is the final week, then you could rest. The Thunder can rest Shea and Jalen Williams, all these guys. They can rest them all starting Friday moving forward. So I think she's okay for tomorrow. And Jalen Williams not playing tonight because it's a second of a back-to-back tomorrow. So I think he's going to play tomorrow.
By the way, she spent a lot of money.
Shea may not play.
No, he has to play against the Clippers. Don't say that, Alan.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. They drafted him. She spent a lot of money on those tickets. Where does she go to get the refund? NBA.com? Do they just issue money?
Email iHeart. Everything is email iHeart.
What do you got, Brett?
SeatGeek said you can get in tonight for as cheap as $69.
$69 for
to
a
the
Lakers game
Thunder
against the Thunder.
Yeah.
Wow. Next question.
That's, by the way, the definition when they say box office. LeBron, box office.
Yeah, box office.
Luka, box office.
Wow. Yeah. $70 to see the Thunder, too. That's insane. All right, next question.
Who should bat leadoff for the Padres?
It's a great question.
How many different players have they used now? They used Tatis, Cronenworth, and Laureano. I think those three. I think I would still lean towards Fernando Tatis Jr.
Right.
I think that's where I would go. Even though I have in mind, though, yesterday's lineup I liked. I think, honestly, today's lineup, which Padres are playing right now, I like that lineup as well. I'm going to lean towards Tatis. When the dust settles, I want Tatis leading off.
I agree with you. Now, I don't mind Laureano.
Sure.
I like him a lot as a
I do
player.
too. He might be my favorite player on the Padres.
Maybe it works. I mean, maybe you give it 20 days and just say, we're just going to plug you in for a couple of weeks, see if it works. I could live with that. But it is still Fernando Tatis Jr. You need to get this player going. Well, I don't care if he bats first, 9th, or 17th. He's not going to bat 17th. But hasn't homered this year, sub 200 batting average, 10 games in. They've got 152 remaining. Whatever it takes to get Fernando Tatis Jr. going, I'm on board with. And if that's leading him off, great. If it's hitting him second, third, fourth,
maybe
great.
This is part of the strategy. It's like, hey, I don't have to hold him down to just one position or put pressure on him because he is leading off. Maybe part of the reason why the Padres have gone with 11 different lineups in 11 games is because they're all trying to figure this out. Craig Stammen's also trying to figure out what's best for the team. I don't mind that. If there's going to be a time in the season where you're juggling some stuff, do it in the beginning of the season. But for Tatis, there's only so much that Craig Stammen can do. There's only so much they can do with him in the lineup. At the end of the day, it's on Tatis. It's not on anybody else.
No, I completely agree. So we'll keep you updated, obviously, on the Padres here as they continue their series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Also, this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Pink at Petco Park. That concert's coming up on May 15th. And later in the show, a family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. We'll give those away. All right, we need to hear from the Fab Five, and we'll do it on the other side. What they had to say about their former head coach, the iconic Steve Fisher, who was the 17-year head coach of the Aztecs, completely turned this program around. Of course, and Brian Dutcher has been here for all that time as well. You'll hear from the Fab Five from the Final Four on Steve Fisher and his legacy and how he should be in the Naismith Hall of Fame. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher provided by Donors Choose. There's still some time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. What a cool cause right there.
That is a very cool cause. Again, Schaefer and Sliwa with you here this afternoon. We're giving away tickets to see Pink at Petco Park on May 15th. We're going to do that coming up later this hour. I found this to be really, really fascinating. Steve Fisher, by the way, again, I'm biased, but you don't have to be biased to recognize this. He is a Hall of Fame caliber coach. And I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but come on. I mean, he won a national championship.
Kind of the eye test. Yep.
Thank you. That's an 89 title. Coached the Fab Five, resurrected San Diego State. There, put him in. 500 plus wins, national championship winning head coach. Tom Izzo, how many titles does he have? He's got one, right? Like one title is a lot of titles. There's a lot of Hall of Fame caliber coaches without one. Mark Few comes to mind, for example.
Sure.
At Gonzaga. So anyway, Michigan's in the Final Four, right? And they do this alt cast on like TBS or TNT with the entirety of the Fab Five. All five of these members together, right? Brent, were you watching this in any capacity?
I was just laughing because Jimmy King and Ray Jackson didn't talk.
No,
it's mostly Juwan and the other three.
But this is what the Fab Five had to say about their former head coach, Steve Fisher.
And also, big shout out to Steve Fisher, who led Michigan to 3 NCAA finals games and 1 championship. 89. So he deserves to be respected and honored on the U of M camp. 3 Final Fours and what? But it was also at a time, here's what we can't ignore. It was at a time when Bobby Knight and Gene Cady, those type of coaches were in your face and perceived to be, keeping their players in check. I appreciate the fact that he trusted us enough to wear black shoes, black socks, long shorts, and the Huaraches, and ball heads as well. Well, I don't know. I think at this time, I'm not saying that went up to Jay, but in my opinion, Coach Fisher should be in the Hall of Fame. Agreed. He has as many championships as Jim Boeheim. Talk about it. Tom Izzo. Talk about it. And many of the great coaches. Talk about how he turned around San Diego State. Talk about it. Correct. That program now is a winning program because it started with Coach Steve Fisher. He was giving away tickets the first year he was there. Juwan, if you and Chris do that again, I swear I'm in the car today. Yeah, Coach Fisher, man. Shout to Big, shout to Brian Dutcher, Jake Smith.
I absolutely love that, Alan. Turn your mic on. There's something about that. Just like the respect they have.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been through everything. I mean, you don't need to go back to that. They didn't need to do that, but to me, it almost was kind of necessary for them to acknowledge the accomplishments of Steve Fisher.
Yeah, I love it because it's you and I can try to make a case, and we could. And again, I'm not the guy to tell you the credentials. Even if you ask me, an NBA Hall of Famer, this and that, I don't know. I don't know what the credentials are. We've talked about individual titles. It seems like it changes a lot of the time. Media is going to have their own opinion, their own perspective. It's one thing for a media member to say Steve Fisher should be in the Hall of Fame. It's another thing for Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard. You obviously know how much they respect Steve Fisher. Whether, he'll ever get that opportunity or not, I think the fact that on a platform as big as a national title game and as big as Michigan just winning right now, there's a lot of respect going back to Steve Fisher, what he did accomplish when he was with Michigan. So I'm sure for Coach Fisher, he just appreciates that moment. I love these guys also mentioning San Diego State University and also mentioning that the dude used to walk around and hand tickets out. He did. I was at SDSU from 2000 to 2005. There were a lot of thin years at San Diego State University when it came to the basketball program. Now you just think of the basketball program and everyone's grabbing a microphone when they don't make the tournament. And they're very critical. But what do you mean they didn't make the tournament?
Yeah.
How come Dutch didn't lead them to the tournament? That's what you want for any franchise that's representing your city or any university. You want expectations, and they got those expectations because of Steve Fisher.
I mean, Michigan. Michigan hadn't won a title before last night since 1989.
I didn't know that, by the way.
I mean, they hadn't won one since 1989. And the 89 story, by the way, not to necessarily take the trip down memory lane, is an incredible one. Steve Fisher's first game as a college head coach was in the NCAA tournament. His former boss had taken the Arizona State job. Bo Schembechler promoted Steve Fisher for the tournament. And they go on this magical run.
Because the coach that left, they didn't allow to stay as the head coach.
Bill Frieder, who lives in, I believe, lives in North County and has been friends with the Fishers for all that time. Incredibly. So, it's just an amazing. They win the national championship in overtime over Seton Hall in the Kingdom. It's this ridiculous thing. And then he had the Fab Five, and they went to 2 title games. And there's Chris Webber in the timeout, and then there's San Diego State. I mean, the idea that what he was able to do at San Diego State was even possible. Nobody would have thought that was even possible. I think the year before Coach Fisher got here, I think at the time was the RPI.
Mm-hmm.
In the RPI, San Diego State was the second to last team in America. Their first year, they went winless in the Mountain West. I mean, just to think that you could do that and then later appear in a national championship game with Dutch, it's an incredible story for me. And it doesn't get near the national acclaim that it should receive.
Kind of a crazy. So some of his accolades at San Diego State: won 7 regular season conference championships.
That's a huge number.
4 tournament titles, making 8 NCAA tournaments, including the Sweet 16 twice at both of those, before retiring 2016, 2017. So I just, I say all that because you can make an argument that what he accomplished at San Diego State over the years, and then handing the keys over to Brian Dutcher and what Dutch has been able to do, is as impressive as winning that national title for a big time program in 1989 as Michigan.
Great point.
I don't have to make the argument, but the point is that those resumes both are wildly impressive, whatever he did at Michigan, and then obviously what he was able to do at San Diego State.
I love that. I do. All right. Mark Zeigler speaking to the Aztecs with more on San Diego State with the transfer portal open. Mark Zeigler will join us coming up at 5 p.m. There's been a ton of moving and shaking. We can get into that over the next 90 minutes as well. But we'll give away Pink tickets coming up next. Pink performing at Petco Park on May 15th. We'll give those away. We've also got a family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. We're here until 6 p.m. Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, the Padres and Pirates have game 2 of their series going on in Pittsburgh. In the top of the 4th, we have no score. In NFL news, Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 pick in the NFL draft, told the league today that he is not planning on attending the draft. Mendoza would be the latest top pick to not go to skip the draft. Javon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped the draft in the years they were the top pick. The draft will be held in Pittsburgh with the first round beginning on April 23rd. And tonight we have Lakers basketball, at least what's left of them, when they take on OKC. Pregame coverage will begin at 7:15 and the tip is at 7:30. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 will give away that 4-pack of tickets. Actually, well, we have Sesame Place tickets, but we'll give away a pair of tickets to see Pink May 15th at Petco Park. Coming up here within the next 15 minutes or so. The update from PNC Park is the Padres and the Pirates are scoreless. Great pitchers duel between Paul Skenes and Nick Pivetta playing out right now in the 4th inning, as Brent just told you. He also mentioned the interesting story involving Fernando. Why do I always get this guy's name wrong? It's because of Tatis. Francisco Mendoza or Fernando. What the hell is this guy's name? Mendoza.
Give it to him, Brent.
Fernando.
It is Fernando.
I think both of the times you've kind of confused yourself a couple different times.
I'm overthinking
it. You're overthinking it. That's what happened. You're overthinking it.
Are we overthinking the fact that Fernando Mendoza not planning to attend the NFL draft is a big story?
No, listen. I'm just assuming he's going to be the number 1 overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. Almost did that one.
Right.
To the Raiders. It is a big deal. I mean, your number 1 pick is not going to attend the NFL draft. If you're the NFL, you can't be happy about that. And I get it. Okay, maybe Mendoza wants to be with this. You're the number 1 overall pick in the NFL. Might want to show up to the NFL draft. Listen. I don't know. I don't know what the precedent is of other number 1 or top 3 or top 5 picks in any sport that are deciding they're not in the NBA draft. Is somebody, you're going to be the number 1 overall pick. I'm assuming you're going to be there. Is this common?
Trend. How about this? Trayvon Walker, first pick 2022, wasn't there. Trevor Lawrence 2021 wasn't there. Baker Mayfield 2018 wasn't there. Myles Garrett 2017 wasn't there.
A lot of number 1 picks.
Here's what I'm thinking if I'm in the NFL.
But you can't convince these players to come to your event. You can't pay them X amount of dollars to say, we're going to give you some sponsorship money that's going to come with it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Would you do it for money?
Joe Thomas wasn't number 1, but he was like number 3.
Yeah.
He skipped the draft to go fishing with his dad instead.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting.
That's kind of badass.
I mean, I guess the question is just because the NFL makes the draft a big deal, does that mean the players will have to treat it as
But
such?
I do think the NFL draft is a big deal.
It's a massive deal. There's hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just one of those, they're trying to force something on you. I think the numbers show that it's a big deal. Yeah. I think a lot of people across the country definitely care about it. So I think it is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting specifically about Mendoza is like, you're going to go to the Raiders first overall.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know what the expectations are going to be because it's the Raiders. But I think the expectations are probably going to be sky high.
The expectations are going to be, you might be the savior to the franchise. Right, I mean, whether that's fair or not, but that happens with every number 1 pick, right? Every number 1 pick is supposed to save the franchise. And if there's a franchise that needs to be saved, it's the Raiders.
It certainly is. I mean, this guy has had like a magical 18 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he transferred from Cal. I want to say his last year at Cal. They beat the Aztecs, by the way, that year in like a 21-7 game in Berkeley. From leaving Cal to today is an unbelievable 18 months. Like I don't think anyone thought when he left Cal for Indiana, this guy was going to be
and he didn't go to Georgia or LSU
I know, that's a great point. It's like
guy went to Indiana.
So are you saying that if you were Fernando Mendoza's dad, you'd say, son, we got to go?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's such an honor and a respect to get an opportunity to be a top. I mean, if you're a first rounder in the NFL, that's pretty damn cool, right? That's a special moment for you. And I think there are a lot of iconic videos out there of when this player got drafted, and you look back and you're like, hey, do you remember if I'm just Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, whatever the case is, they do go back. You do look at the video from when they were drafted, and not to say that his reasoning, I am shocked that there were that many other players that did not go. So maybe it's not as big of a deal. But if you're, I go back to this, if you're the NFL, can you not find a way to convince these top tier athletes, no, this is where you want to be. This is where you should be. We'll provide you everything that you need. Come here and do it with us.
I think a big thing too is that we know he's going to be the number one pick. It's not like a Shedeur Sanders situation where he might be top 3 or he might sit there for 4 hours and do nothing. If that was the case, or it's more of a Shedeur thing, I understand him maybe not wanting to go, because no one wants to have that Aaron Rodgers situation where you're just sitting there, in the green room forever waiting for your name to be called.
A lot of players in all sports, right? That they've run into that, where the expectations were this guy's going to go in the first round and just
but
ends up sitting there twiddling. No, it's not the case.
When you're Myles Garrett, or at the time Baker Mayfield, or now obviously Fernando Mendoza, that's not the case. I'm curious about San Diego State's got a player that's going to get drafted, a very good player in Chris Johnson. He could be a first round pick. I think he'll certainly be a second round pick. The Aztecs have not had a player drafted in 3 years, which is their longest stretch since the 1960s. I don't know what Chris Johnson plans on doing, but he's an outstanding player that I think will hear his name called either day 1 or day 2 at the upcoming NFL draft in Pittsburgh. You think there'll be more people at the draft?
Not surprised that Sean Lewis is leading the program. I think that's going to start changing as far as how many different players end up getting drafted in the NFL again when it comes to San Diego State. I really am excited about SDSU football and where that program is going, and shout out to him, what he was able to accomplish in his first year. So that's great to hear that you also got an Aztec coming out, and whether that's a late first rounder or second rounder, whenever it is, very impressive.
Really good player corner. I was going to say, you think there's more people at the NFL draft in Pittsburgh than this Pirates game? I mean, you have Paul Skenes on the mound. There's no one there. Now everyone's wearing snow hats, so it looks like it's about 30 degrees. Brent's telling me it's 40 degrees. There's no score in the 4th inning. If these pitchers pitch all night, we might have no score until the 80th inning. If Pavetta and Skenes can go 80 innings, it's unlikely.
All right, let's give a San Diego example here. Let's say Padres got a game coming up. I mean, Rockies is not a good example, but let's just say Padres were playing a good team, not a great team, playing a good team.
Mariners?
Let's playing the Mariners at Petco, and it's raining pretty good. What's it going to look like at Petco?
I'd be packed.
You think it's still packed?
Because the seats are already sold. I mean, that's a good question, because it is rain.
Now, this is not raining.
It's not raining.
And Pittsburgh's used to all this. We're not used to it. It gets down to 65 degrees. I'm like, we got to shut it down. Like, this is, how can we be going into work when it's 65 outside? This isn't safe.
What is it outside?
The feels like temperature in Pittsburgh right now is 34.
Man, that's cold, man.
Felt like 72 when I was driving in. How do you think I feel?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would say this. When
I had the windows halfway down.
Only halfway?
Yeah.
When I called minor league baseball games, and I did it in the East, man, April.
Oh, brutal.
It was brutal, man. Because I would have the press box windows open. I never wanted it to sound like a phone booth. So I'd have the window up, right? The crowd mic out the window. I wanted the ambiance.
I like that. Yeah.
The problem is I would be like the 2-2 low, and the players would hear me, because that's how many people were in the stadiums in April in like the Carolina League or the International League. So I get it. I mean, it's a fact of life for like the Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs this time of year. Like it's Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's what you do.
You're going to have a couple of weeks like
this.
But
I am surprised. You're right. Pittsburgh got off to a good start. Skenes on the mound.
There's no one there.
And there's nobody there. There's literally nobody there. By the way, this would be a fun road trip to go to. I'd go to any park. I'd go to any park
here, right?
I've never been to Pittsburgh.
Their ballpark's unbelievable. Unbelievable ballpark. To me, it's very similar to Petco. It's smaller than Petco. I think it holds like 38,000. It's an unbelievable ballpark. Mason Miller, you and I were talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
Everyone's known that Mason Miller is one of the better closers in baseball. I think that was the story even last year at the trade deadline. He's now emerged as like one of the stories, arguably, of baseball based on the successes he's having. He's pitching right now, or he may pitch this week in Pittsburgh against the Pirates, which is his hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But it's kind of crazy how in a half season.
Could pitch tonight if he's in a position. They didn't use 100%. Him yesterday. Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy how in a half season this guy's become like a face of baseball and maybe a face of the Padres.
Yeah. You think of the franchise, right? Think of the Padres and how many really, really good players that you have on this team. Manny Machado is known around the league. That's kind of Fernando Tatis Jr. A lot of these players you can say, hey, that's the face of our franchise.
Right.
Might not be anymore. I mean, Mason Miller, first off, you had his intro song that turned everybody into, who's that coming out? Yep. What song is he coming out to? Everybody had so much interest in it. His stuff is so damn filthy. Already 4 saves on the season. I want to say he has, how many strikeouts does he have over those 11 Ks?
In how many innings? 4 innings?
In 4 innings, 1 base on ball. I mean, he's just filthy.
11 Ks in 4 innings. There's only 12 outs.
Wait. If I'm correct here, if I'm looking at the stats right here, I think he's gone 4 1/3.
Okay, with 11 strikeouts.
With 11 Ks. Am I right on that? I think I'm right
probably.
on that. Just obviously unbelievable, but he's instantly just became, I think, for a lot of Padre fans out there, which, listen, anytime you go make the trade that the Padres did and you got a closer for someone as, do you want to trade your number 1 prospect for a closer? I'm sure that's not what many teams do out there in baseball. Mason Miller might be the one exception to the rule. We'll have to wait and find out because we don't have the answer to that until down the road.
And I would say this, to answer the question of can a closer be the face of a franchise, look no further than Trevor Hoffman or Mariano Rivera. Now, sure. Trevor Hoffman, of course, had Tony Gwynn. Mariano had some of the best teams in baseball history, and he was still a focal point. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he got the same level of discussion as Jeter, but it was close. I think it was very close to that. So I'm with you in that point. I think at first glance in modern baseball, you're like, really, a closer? And then you think about it for a second, like, yeah, really, a closer can be the face of a franchise.
The question's going to be his name and his value to the Padres is going to depend on everybody else.
100%.
So the value of Mason Miller is going to depend on the bullpen, on the starters, but more importantly, probably the bats.
Yep.
Do they have that 3-2 lead by the time you get to the 9th? Are they down 6-1 and you can't use Mason Miller for a couple of games? So a lot of his role, this is not one of those, well, I know we're going to see him once every 5 days, or I know I'm going to see him every day in the lineup. For him to have the value that he needs to have and to be let's put it this way. If he's got, what would be an impressive number of saves this year?
That is such a good question.
Because that's 40s. Not on him.
Well,
that's on them.
I say high 40s.
High 40s. Are they in the playoffs?
Should be.
Should be, right?
I think so. I don't even know what the save leaders had in baseball last year, for example. It's changed a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess the point that I'm just trying to make is the more we see Mason Miller, then it just clearly means the Padres are having success this year.
That's exactly right. All right. Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Pink at Petco Park on May 15th. Great giveaway. We have 2 free tickets for caller 4. All you need to do is call 877-767-4760, but you need to do it right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Pink live at Petco Park on May 15th. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Call right now if you want those free tickets, 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. We have an update on the health of Joe Musgrove that we'll share with you on the other side. Plus, Mark Zeigler joins the show live at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer and Sliwa. And coming up, by the way, at 5 p.m., Mark Zeigler from the UT. Transfer portal season, Alan. Transfer portal is open. A lot of Aztecs are currently in it, including Magoon Guath, who a year ago, if you recall, entered the portal only to return. And he did so to like widespread fanfare locally. Magoon Guath's coming back. He turned down more money to return. I think the 3 finalists for Guath were San Diego State, Michigan, and Kentucky. That is what it came down to. I think he spoke with Dusty May at Michigan. I think he spoke with Mark Pope, and he elected to return. This time he's likely, here's my guess. I mean, this is my speculation. I haven't spoken with him, but you just do the math on it. Came back, had the knee worked on, didn't put together a full year because he wasn't healthy. And then the Aztecs don't make the NCAA tournament. I think this time he's in for good would be my guess. There's already certain like crystal ball sites projecting Kentucky as a possibility for Magoon Guath. But this is the nature of it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of movement, and that includes San Diego State. We'll talk to Mark about it in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a foreign world to me. So, it's going to be something that I look forward to kind of following how college basketball, how college football operates, but the college basketball portion of things in San Diego State, because it does affect San Diego State. And, I'm curious. I'm sure there's ways that it could affect San Diego State positively. And, of course, there's ways that affects them negatively. The problem that I would just say is, how do you build something sustainable when, imagine you're running a business or a company and every single year you got 15 new employees. I gotta relearn the personalities. I gotta relearn, how this person gets motivated that person gets motivated that way. You know what? We don't even have to go to a business or a company. Imagine an NBA team
replacing everyone.
Every year, you're like, hey, you're only going to keep 1 or 2 guys. Now go gain some cohesion and try to figure it out and go make a run. Not that it can't happen, but damn, that's. I mean, in our business, we've been here for a while. It takes a long time to build some chemistry. Imagine every single year, it's like, new person. 6 months, every, a different person.
And to that point, it's like if you're Brian Dutcher, Brian Dutcher has coached for such a long period of time. I mean, you go back to the late 1980s, that teams didn't operate this way, or excuse me, the sport didn't operate this way until very recently. So it's like you knew a way to build a team that was tried and true. I mean, you think about San Diego State. From Fisher through Dutcher, and I always used to say this about college athletics, some of the best programs will have a chance to compete for a national championship every 4 years. And San Diego State was on that path. 2011 Sweet 16 team could have played for a national championship, if not for UConn and Kemba. And they were playing in Anaheim with a chance to win that game. 2014, they're playing in Anaheim.
Franklin that had the tech.
With Kemba?
Flop. Yeah.
So you have to think about that. 2011.
He started talking to Kemba, and Kemba started laughing, and I'm like, God, that's not a good sign.
And it wasn't.
Whenever, you ever see 2 guys that are about to get in a fight, one of them's laughing, I'm like, yeah, that's not good.
That's not a good sign.
And that's the same thing in the NBA or in basketball. It's like, or any competition, when the opposing side is laughing that you're talking smack to them, I'm like, that's probably a very confident person.
But think about the Aztecs. 2011 Sweet 16, 2014, 2020, they could have won a national championship. We have no idea. There was a pandemic. 2023, they literally played for a national championship. But now the rules have changed. And the question is, how does that change or not? How does that impact San Diego State? We don't really have enough data on it, would be my guess. Since the portal's been the portal, they made a Sweet 16, 2024. They made an NCAA tournament in 2025, and then they were out, obviously, in 2026. But that's the question for me. Like, Brian Dutcher's done it one way. Steve Fisher did it one way. How does this change the successes that they've had for such a long period of time?
We've heard the saying before, and I'm sure it's no different. I'm sure Dutch will do what he needs to do to adapt, but you have to adapt. You adapt or die. And that's going to be the process for a lot of college coaches, a lot of college programs. You might not like it. You might not agree with it. You might think this is BS. You might say to yourself, this isn't sustainable. You might have 25 different reasons why it's not right for college athletics and it's not right for the sport. Unless you play the game that's being played, you're going to get left behind. So that's going to be the adjustment for San Diego State University, for some of these schools, next year when we go into the Pac-12 and it's going to, because there's always going to be schools out there that have figured out a way. If I look just as an example, whether it's a great example or not, Utah State figured out a way this year, right?
Sure. Good team. in the tournament, round of 32.
Give them all the credit in the world. The entire and there's always going to be universities that just say, all right, we're just going to have to embrace the way the sport is played today, the way college athletics is played today. And San Diego State, which I'm very, very confident will find a way to do this, you're going to have to adjust. And the way you did it in the past, like you said, they've kind of done, this is our blueprint. I was able to do it with Fisher. I was able to do it with Dutcher, and I'm able to have this success. And then literally the entire company, it's like, yeah, you can't do it that way anymore. Now you got to figure it out.
That's the beauty of Dutch, though. Like he said this so many times over the last couple of years, the portal era. Like, tell me the rules, and I'm going to figure out a way to be successful.
That's what winners do.
Let me know what I need to do. What are the parameters in which we're playing by, and we will figure out a way. And the exact line from Dutch would be to be relevant on a national level, and he's been able to do that. And this will be obviously a big offseason, not just for San Diego State, but for everyone in college basketball. An update from Kevin Acee on Joe Musgrove is not necessarily an encouraging one, as the Padres and Pirates are playing this evening in Pittsburgh in a scoreless game in the bottom of the fifth inning. According to Kevin Acee, there's no timetable for when Joe Musgrove will get on a mound. And apparently Joe Musgrove physically doesn't feel good throwing breaking pitches, specifically his slider. So again, he had this surgery, I don't even know how many months that is, 19 months ago, something like that. Oftentimes it could take a year or two off Tommy John, but that is, I think it's very concerning, obviously, what's going on with Joe Musgrove, because he hasn't yet been on the mound here in 2026, Alan, and we haven't seen him since October of 2024.
You and I were talking about it. You know, we were talking about it prepping for the show, and we both talked about the AC article. I was at that game.
Yeah, the last time he pitched.
As everyone was very excited about that playoff run that the Padres were about to go into. They had the wild card series against Atlanta. And was he game 2?
Yeah, he was game two and he won it because King struck out like $1 million in game 1, I think.
Okay, so he's game 2. So I'm at game 2. And there was just a pause during the middle of the game. Musgrove's on the mound. And it's like, I don't know what's happening here, but this can't be good. Then Musgrove starts walking towards, obviously towards the bench. And that's it. And we haven't seen Joe Musgrove since then. Can you imagine that when that moment happened, not only what it meant to that season, not having Joe Musgrove, because it doesn't matter at this point, but a healthy Joe Musgrove probably means he pitches in game 4 against the Dodgers instead of Dylan Cease off 3 days rest. Darvish was phenomenal in game 5, but whether that was able to happen or not, Joe Musgrove doesn't pitch all of last season. And then here we are now sitting in April.
Yeah.
And he's still not comfortable being the Joe Musgrove that we're looking for. Of course it's concerning. It's wildly concerning. And I don't know if it means because of Randy Vasquez and his emergence for the Padres, where he's able to play that 3 role for the Padres. But the only thing that I'll be able to tell you is you'd rather just have Joe Musgrove healthy in 2 months than try to rush him into something, which I don't think they're going to do. Let's just hope that we're going to get some point this year where Joe Musgrove's good to go. He's ready to go, and the injury's behind him.
Yeah, you got to be cautious, but you also recognize, I think, that for the Padres to reach their ceiling, you'd like to think Joe Musgrove is a part of their ceiling in 2026. Mark Zeigler on the other side. Transfer portal is open. A number of Aztecs are in it. What's the plan for some of those players, and what does San Diego State need to do to address its needs? Mark Zeigler on the other side. We've got a family 4-pack of tickets to give away to Sesame Place here until 6 p.m. at Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Burger King. Right now in Pittsburgh, Padres Pirates game 2. The Pirates just got on the board first. They lead 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th, and they still got one more runner in scoring position. In NFL news, Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 pick in the draft, informed the league today that he's not going to attend the draft. Mendoza would be the latest top pick to not attend the draft in person. Travon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped the draft the year they were taken number 1. The draft this year will be held in Pittsburgh, with the first round beginning on April 23rd. Tonight we have Lakers basketball on San Diego Sports 760 when they take on OKC. The pregame coverage will begin at 7:15 and the tip will be at 7:30. Burger King has been working on the Whopper, and thanks to you, it's never tasted better. Flame grilled beef, crisp produce, and a perfectly toasted bun. Whether it's been weeks or years, come try the Whopper again for only $3.99 on Whopper Wednesdays. Terms apply. Visit bk./terms.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. John Schaefer.
When you think about the city of San Diego, some of the worst ownership groups, with the Clippers situation, with the Chargers situation, even the Padres ownership history hasn't always been smooth sailing.
San Diego's own Alan Sliwa.
I felt like we went through a stage of baseball where everything was so predetermined. Why even have a manager? What's the point of having a manager?
Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, final hour here on San Diego Sports 760. Always great to connect with Mark Zeigler, who's been so good to the station over the years, back with us right now. First time on Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. But Mark, I've enjoyed your reporting and writing. Obviously, the transfer portal is open. It's impacting every school in the country, including San Diego State. So based on what you know now in terms of the Aztecs roster from this past season, is anything surprising to you as of yet, or how do you see what's played out over the last handful of days with the portal opening? How do you see it? How it's played out? And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, well, first, welcome, Alan.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that, and I've been reading your articles for a while, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really surprising. I wrote quite a bit toward the end of the season about, I don't want to call it a mass exodus, but an exodus of players probably coming and being imminent, and it's kind of what we expected. I think if there's any surprise right now, it's that Taj DeGorville is not in the portal. I would have expected him to get in the portal, particularly after starting. And he had some troubles during the season. He had, one incident where he sort of ripped off his jersey out of frustration. And I know he really likes it in San Diego, but a player like that, usually sort of, you see that, it sort of screams he's going to leave, and he hasn't. So that's a little bit of a surprise. The other guys, not so much. And I think it's a combination of players wanting to, maybe chase the money a little bit, but also I think there's probably some, little polite nudges to get guys out the door to maybe start a little bit fresher with the roster next season and build around LZ and Tay and Latrell. And so I think there's a little bit of that as well.
Mark, obviously not knowing what the future is going to hold for just college athletics in general, what it was 5 years ago to where it is today, what are some of the advantages San Diego State has based off the current setup? I'm still, and I think everybody's still trying to kind of figure out this new world in college athletics. What are some of the ways SDSU can take advantage of today's system versus maybe what it was a few years ago?
Well, I think what's too bad and just the timing of all this is San Diego State, you started to check off all these boxes to attract players, and, it was a stable coaching staff, respected coach staff. They had that. It was a great home crowd. They had that. It was a great practice facility. They had that. Great university in a great city, had all that. Putting players in the pros, they had done that. And the one thing they really hadn't done is made a really, really deep run in March. And then they did that. And then just as they do that, everything flips. And it's all about money, the one thing they really don't have. So I still think there are more disadvantages to advantages right now for them, because their budget's not going to be anywhere near what the power conference budgets are going to be. And they're going to have to be lean and mean. And, that only takes you so far. But the one thing I think that when they get into sort of the pay class of
player that they're looking at and the other schools they're competing against, yes, they have advantages. I think the crowd and the arena is a huge advantage. I think Brian Dutcher and his staff is a huge advantage. And I think the family atmosphere and culture is, all the players talk about it, even the ones who leave. I mean, Nick Boyd left last year, a couple days after his season. Where is he? He's back in San Diego visiting with the coaches, hanging out with some of the players of the team. And you don't see that in other places. And I think that word kind of gets around. So I think that could help players. But if it's, if a player's being offered $2 million, that's not going to be enough to get that player for $500,000.
Mark Zeigler with the UT has covered the Aztec beat for a long time. He's with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. I'm curious to get your thoughts, Mark, because again, you've been so close to it. How do they address it this time around in terms of needs? Like Brian Dutcher has spoken publicly about maybe an interest in going to Europe, something they haven't routinely done previously. Like, how do you start to attack this, and how do you do it in a manner that might be different from some of the other programs that do have more resources when it comes to money than you do?
So at this point, it's all about finding value for them. They're not a program that can just go say, these are the players we want. How much is it going to take? We'll just throw enough money at them until we get them. They can't do that. And so they have to go find value. Europe is one place to find value. Now, people have gone and got European bigs because the big market here is a very finite supply, and the prices of those bigs are just soaring. And so they feel like there's more value in Europe. But at a certain point, European bigs are going to get tapped out. Everyone's going after European bigs. So maybe the next step to maybe find really good value is go find a European 4 or 3 or 2 or shooter or something like that. And so it'll be interesting to see if they go after a center, a 5-man in Europe, or if they go after a smaller player where they maybe can find a little bit more value. And then the other thing, I think that there are very specific positions that they're going to have to fill now because they know what they've lost and they know what they need. But I think one thing that maybe people are forgetting when they just get so focused on, okay, they need a 5-man who can shoot, or they need a 4-man who can rebound, et cetera, or whatever it's going to be, is I think they have to go get Aztecs. They have to go get those tough guys with chips on their shoulders. And this group of players that are leaving, very talented, but they never really quite had that internal grit that you'd seen in past teams. They sort of got them over the hump. And they just didn't seem to have that. And maybe that's unfair to those players. I don't know, but with 2 years of sample size, you just didn't see it. And so I think they're going to try to look for some of those junkyard dogs in addition to positional needs. But I think first and foremost, it's going to be testable fortitude is going to be probably the number one on their list.
It's a good observation, right? Talent's only going to get you so far. So, and there is a little bit of a DNA that the Aztecs have built over the years. Mark, who does kind of like the current setup right now? I don't know if I hear people, I don't know if I hear the masses saying that, hey, this is the perfect setup and it makes sense for everybody. Is it just the programs with the deepest pockets that say, hey, this works great? Who is, I guess, encouraged by where college or even college basketball, college football, where some of these programs are? How do most people feel about it, and who's encouraged by it?
Well, Dusty May certainly likes it. He just won a national championship with five transfer starters. But I'm not even sure that Mark Pope, who had an unlimited budget and supposedly north of $20 million, likes it, because look at all the heat he got to put even more pressure on them to win, and they didn't win the way that fan base wanted them to. I don't think anybody really likes it, but I also think coaches, and you'll hear this a lot from Brian Dutcher, coaches are a little bit different than maybe administrators or fans. Coaches are thrown in the system and they have to win, and they have to figure out a way to do it. And they put the puzzle pieces together. Here are the rules. Here are the restrictions. And they just put their heads down and blinders on and they go do it. And so, Brian Dutcher will say, yeah, the system sucks, but it's above my pay grade to fix it. So you just tell me what the rules are and I'll go out and do that. I hear that a lot from coaches. They don't like it, but this is what the rules they're going to operate within. And so they're going to go out and try to make, put together the best team they can and win the largest number of games they can. But I think what's going to happen is the next sort of phase is all these schools, particularly public institutions, have athletic departments that are going to be way in the red, that they're just going to be spending. And eventually the academic side of campuses is going to say, hold on here. What's our real mission here? Are we a university or are we a professional sports organization? If we're a university, we're not going to run these deficits. And that is going to force the change. I don't think, athletic directors, the NCAA are going to get this kind of change. I think it's going to have to come from the academic side of universities that really, really push it. I'm not sure they're quite there yet because I don't think academic senates, faculty senates are aware enough of what these deficits are. But I think that awareness, we'll start seeing that in the next year or two.
Mark, I know you wrote about this, but again, with the portal era, it's like anyone can go in the portal at any time during this, this 15-day window. Are you under the assumption, or your reporting suggests that these players will be back that haven't yet entered? Forget about Taj DeGorville for a moment. You touched on him, but Tay Simmons had a terrific year. LZ Harrington, if he would have stayed healthy, I think did a lot of really promising things. The point guard for the Aztecs, and then there's Latrell Davis, the San Jose State transfer that sat out last year and redshirted. Are you led to believe? Does your reporting suggest they'll be back?
Yeah, I think all three of those, and Brian Dutch is pretty open about wanting to build around those three. I don't think they're going to make an announcement or it's going to be official until all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed on the contracts. But that's coming, I think.
What about? I'm sorry. What were you saying, Mark?
No, I just think that's coming in the next probably days or weeks. That we'll start to see like these guys are formalized. But if you're not in the portal today, it's a pretty good indication that you're staying with your current team.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I was going to ask you before you go, just your thoughts on what do you think in terms of potential landing spots? Is it too early to know? Players like Miles Bird or Magoon Gua, do you have any feel for where they could ultimately end up playing?
Magoon's a tough one because it's going to be a program that's going to take a chance on him, obviously. They're going to overpay for what he's done this past year, maybe in the past 2 years, with the injuries that he's had, the injury history, and they're just going to take a flyer. He's not going to be, I would assume he will not be a central part of their plans. Like if he gets hurt, they're really screwed. I think he's going to be an add-on to a program that has a ton of money and can take a chance on a guy like that. So who that is, I don't know. It just takes one. In terms of Miles Bird, he's getting interest from everybody. He's ranked in the top 10 in most of these portal lists. His defensive metrics are through the roof. I'm not sure that all these programs really understand what type of player he really is. And maybe I think they're probably undervaluing his offense and overvaluing his defense a little bit because he did gamble quite a bit on defense. And his offense, he can do some other things if put in the right spots. So, but I think he's going to end up at a very high major program, Kansas, Kentucky, Baylor. I mean, all those I hear those in Louisville. I hear these programs thrown out every single day. I know he's been taking Zooms from everybody and trying to narrow it down. And I think we will have an idea of where he might be headed in the next few days, because I think a lot of these programs want to tie these guys up quickly and then move on to the next guy.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating few days or weeks. And again, if you're an Aztec fan, you need to be following Mark Zeigler. And of course, you can read his reporting and writing in the San Diego Union-Tribune. So, Mark, we appreciate you doing it, and we'll do it again soon. And thanks for hopping on.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep. Sure. Talk to you guys.
All right. Great stuff from Mark Zeigler at the UT. He really is dialed in. I mean, he's got an awareness for what's playing out nationally, and then, of course, what's playing out locally as well.
Isn't that fascinating? He said that. Yeah, I don't think a lot of these coaches, I don't think anybody likes what's going on. But the most interesting part is all these universities are eventually going to look at their athletic department and say, hey, we're in the red here. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? What's the advantage of paying somebody $2 million, $4 million, whatever the number is? And I'm not here to take away any money from any of these kids, but that's wild where we were to what it is today. Like, dude, think about just where it's such an extreme difference.
In no time at all, in the grand scheme. Dude, you've reached like a climax, or you're in a problematic period when there's like blogs about Kansas basketball, how NIL has ruined college basketball. No, like Kansas basketball cannot retain its roster.
It's pretty funny.
And their outlets are crying. Not
it's like the Dodgers saying, people are spending too much.
Yes. And that's how you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why we're not at a finish point, but we're at a point.
I hope we get to that point in baseball very soon.
Where it's like, the Dodgers.
Yeah, I hope we get to that spot.
All right, we have an update for you on the Padres, the Pirates on the other side. Paul Skenes was working on a no-hitter into the 6th inning. An update from Pittsburgh on the other side, plus a family 4-pack of tickets to give away to Sesame Place here until 6 p.m. This is San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, SDFC is back home at Snapdragon Stadium Saturday night when they take on the Minnesota United. Pre-game coverage, of course, with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. See if SDFC can get back on track after that loss
this
on
past
Saturday.
Weekend to San Jose. Yeah. Again, that's coming up this weekend. By the way, family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. We've got those for you. We'll give them away this hour. The update from PNC Park in Pittsburgh is that Paul Skenes, Allen, was working on a no-hitter until Fernando Tatis Jr. broke it up in the 6th inning. However,
they had a little bad luck in that sixth as well.
They did.
Laureano hit one hard. Cronenworth or Merrill, I thought, hit one hard.
And grounded into a double play. And the way Pittsburgh has scored its 2 runs tonight, they came against Nick Pivetta in their 5th inning.
Mm-hmm.
It came with 2 outs on basically a seeing eye single, like just kind of perfectly placed.
0-2 count, too.
Oh, was it 0-2? I didn't realize that. Down the left field line. So Pittsburgh trying to even the series up, snap the Padres' 3-game winning streak. And the Pirates are leading. It's not over. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning, but it's 2-0 Pirates. I mean, we talk so much about how Skenes hadn't faced the Padres the last 2 years. He looked like Paul Skenes tonight. I mean, 6 innings of 1-hit baseball tonight.
Kind of what you expect. And again, there really hasn't been too many threats other than that past inning, like we mentioned, where they finally hit the ball hard. And I don't know if they're bringing Skenes back, if they'll bring him back here in the next inning, but yeah, just this is what one of the best players in baseball does. And we've got a few of these games now. And I know you and I both had curiosity about this game because you faced some really good starting pitching to start the season.
Oh, yeah.
And in all of those games, your guys didn't come through so far.
Yeah, so who are the ones we said? Valdez and Skubal with Detroit.
Logan Webb.
Logan Webb with San Francisco.
I think they lost that game 9-3.
Yeah, who did they see with Boston?
And then Skenes today. But I mean, that's 4 in 11 games.
Yep.
4 in 11 games, you face some really good pitching. So part of the challenge is, as much as you want to say, you want to make an excuse sometimes for the Padres. Say, that's a really good pitcher. Yeah, well, what are you going to face in the postseason? And really nobody's saying you got to get Skenes out in the second inning and you have 5 runs on him. Nobody's saying that. But they really have had nothing cooking today on Skenes, and I guess that's why he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And Pivetta did not pitch bad.
No.
They did pull him after 5, but he was 1 strike away from getting out and going really toe-to-toe with Skenes without giving up a run.
I'll tell you what, the happiest man in Pittsburgh is the manager of the Pirates, Don Kelly, for Skenes allowing a hit. And I'll tell you why. Nobody wants to have the conversation the 3rd start of the year about how long of a leash do I have on this generational player. For example, he's thrown 81 pitches. It would have gotten very uncomfortable for Pittsburgh after 7 or 8 innings at 95 pitches, then 105 pitches.
What would you do if you were a manager in that? Because I think I have what I would do.
I think I know what he would have done. I think organizationally, they'd say he's coming out of the game. I think they know going in. If they say, hey, his threshold's 95 pitches.
Don't go over 95.
They're not going over.
Yeah.
I think with Paul Skenes, who might make $400 million in his next contract, they're not willing to do it. Would be my guess. We've seen so many recent examples.
Okay, let me throw a scenario at you. Paul Skenes says,
I'm staying in the game.
Says, I want nothing more than to stay in this game.
Yep.
I've earned this. I've already gone. Let's say the tougher part is you're 7 in, you still got 2 innings left to go.
100%.
Getting through 8,
then he stays in.
Then it's like, yeah, you're keeping him in. Because why are you going to leave him in through 8 if you're not keeping him in through 9?
Well, if you're over 90 pitches through 70, and again, this is theoretical now. He's allowed to hit, right? He's only thrown 82 pitches now. He's got 1 out in the 7th inning. But if you're at 90 through 7, it's the 3rd start of your season. One of the starts you didn't go in inning. Are you going to push it? Is that the spot to push it in? I'm just wondering. I don't know.
The tough thing is, I think in the past where you can have these, you can play out scenarios and you can have these conversations with your player and you can kind of have a feel for the game. That's the one part of baseball that I can't stand about baseball.
Yeah.
Just can we allow a little bit more of a feel? A little bit. Nobody's saying everything's got to be based off of. I get it. It's not like it used to be, and this isn't Nolan Ryan, and he's gonna
150 pitches.
We get that. Yeah, we understand that. Can there be just?
I agree.
Do we have to walk into a game with already the script already written?
It's taking the shine off no hitters. Like, does it really feel the same if it's like Pivetta to Bradley Rodriguez to Jeremiah Estrada to Mason Miller?
I know.
Thankfully, the Padres no hitters in their franchise's history have come by 1 pitcher. In terms of, it was obviously Cease and prior to that, Joe Musgrove, the first in the history of the franchise. The combined no-hitter, this is a point that our former colleague Marty Caswell made for probably 20 years.
The combined no-hitter.
It just doesn't feel the same.
You won a lottery ticket, but 37 other people won
it as well.
So wait, how much did I totally win? You won $88.
Exactly. Is there an equivalent to Wow, Xander Bogaerts. I didn't expect that. Homering off Paul Skenes.
I'm buying his jersey. Remember I told you last time?
Wait for the City Connect 2.0.
I'm not getting his jersey. You know who? If I'm buying a jersey right now, I want Laureano's.
Okay.
He's a freaking stud.
Would you get the City Connect 2.0 for any player that you
Okay, what's the deal on that? That's coming out
Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down to get the City Connect.
Yeah.
Do you think what we saw is what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I think that's the speculation.
Do they leak it on purpose?
Maybe. I don't know. To create buzz potentially and talking and interest.
Look at this free advertising at 525 on the roads that we're giving them.
True.
I mean, I think there is a little bit of buzz to that.
Let's say this, man.
They're going to kill it with the jersey sales anyways.
Oh, that's just going to say, either way, those things are going to sell like hotcakes.
Yep.
Xander Bogaerts, I mean, interestingly, has had a good couple of days, by the way, for the San Diego Padres. So we got a game, is the point, at PNC Park. It's 2-1 Pirates in the 7th inning.
It's so funny when you say he's had a good game. After the conversation we're having, obviously seeing last week, we spent a decent amount on Xander.
Yep.
You know, I'm trying to figure out why aren't more people angry at him. It's like, I got no energy left. That's what most people are saying. You know, I don't want to give him too much credit. I mean, it truly, genuinely is his job for the amount of money that he's getting paid. I don't want to give him, I don't want to be a decent player in Major League Baseball. Nobody's asking you to be a Hall of Famer. Be a decent player for the Padres. That's
right.
all. You went to Boston over the weekend. They're giving you a standing O for what you did there for obviously X amount of years. I think 10 years was he there?
Yeah.
2 World Series titles. I don't have a moment in Xander's history with the Padres where you're like, remember that Xander moment?
Now you do. Homer off Paul Skenes on
Took
a random
Skenes out of the
April
game.
day. Yeah, so Skenes pulled, so he doesn't even go 90 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
And the Padres trying to win and come from behind fashion, trailing right now 2-1 in the 7th inning, looking for a 4th consecutive win. All right, coming up, we're giving away a family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. So we'll give those away on the other side here until 6 p.m. Updates from Pittsburgh and more. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for the all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place. You're going to love their hotel and spa. You really will. Over at Humul, you can experience elevated luxury, a refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the excitement of Humul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. Take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You're also going to love Humul 23 with their lobster buffet every day. Enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their signature breakfast buffet Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10:30, featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites. And make sure to check out Tony Gwynn's for their endless dining as well. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub featuring endless dining Wednesday through Sunday at the all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. The Padres and Pirates game 2 is going on right now in Pittsburgh. We are in the top of the 7th inning, and it is 2-1 Padres, or 2-1 Pirates. Excuse me. The Padres have one runner on. In NFL news, Fernando Mendoza, the projected number 1 pick in the draft, informed the league today that he's not going to attend said draft. Mendoza would be the latest top pick to not attend the draft in person. Trevon Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, and Myles Garrett all skipped out on the draft when they were taken number 1. The draft will be held in Pittsburgh this year, with the first round beginning on April 23rd. And tonight we have Lakers basketball on San Diego Sports 760 when what's left of the team takes on OKC. Pregame is set for 7:15 and the tip is at 7:30. Shop SpringFest at Lowe's to get an additional free Eagle 56-volt battery when you buy a select Eagle mower, trimmer, or blower. Only at Lowe's, valid through April 8th while supplies last.
All right, San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa with you on this Tuesday afternoon. I wanted to say we had a guest book for tomorrow, but now I forget who that is. But we will have a guest tomorrow. So be listening for that guest.
Yeah, and whenever we remember who it was,
we'll tell you.
Be tuned in for when that happens.
That's
because
exactly right.
You can only imagine
how good of a guest that's going to be.
We'll let you know.
So be listening for that tomorrow.
I like that. We're playing mind games with the listeners, you know?
So did we mention, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
We did last segment that Xander Bogaerts has homered off Paul Skenes. Oh, here's the not on my bingo card ever stat of the day for you. The Pittsburgh Pirates were the only rotation in baseball that had not allowed a home run this year.
Wow.
And it's Paul Skenes that gives it up tonight. He was working on a no-hitter in the 6th inning. It's
not
Paul
to Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, exactly. Not to Manny.
Not to Machado.
Not to Toddy.
Not to Laureano.
Sheets. Yeah, no, to Xander, not on my bingo card. That is all you need to know about baseball.
Padres not have a home run yesterday? No, they didn't.
They've hit 5 on the year. No, this is their 6th. They had 5 on the year coming in.
Okay. But you said the Pirates starters
had not allowed a home run in 10 games. Until this 30-degree night where Paul Skenes is out there working on this gem and he allows a solo home run to Xander Bogaerts. This has turned out to be a really good game.
Yeah, really good game. By the way,
trailing 2-1.
Not too shocked. I mean, I guess the question was going to be, how would Pivetta do tonight? But Pivetta held his ground. But both certainly a pitching duel, and with Pivetta and Skenes, that's what you would imagine. We were talking to Darren Smith a little bit earlier, and Darren was mentioning that, this was an important start for Pivetta, because of what happened in game 1 when he goes mano-a-mano with Skubal and came out. Listen, this is why you're the ace, right? If you're the ace of the San Diego Padres, you got to be competitive every time you go out. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side. It doesn't matter who's pitching for the other team. And Pivetta did exactly that tonight. He did his job. Now the question is going to be, can the Padres bats get to the bullpen of the Pittsburgh Pirates? Because we know what the bullpen of the San Diego Padres is capable of doing, but what does it matter to have Mason Miller if he's not coming in the 9th with a lead?
I would love
so that's obviously what it comes down to.
And again, grew up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
would love to see him potentially have that opportunity if the Padres can score a couple of runs here over the next couple of innings. We'll give away this family 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place coming up in the next 10 minutes. The NBA postseason, Alan, will start, if you include the play-in tournament, within about a week, right? The play-in tournament gets underway Tuesday?
Play-in tournament in a week, and then a week and a half. So a week from this Saturday, officially the NBA will start. So they'll start those 10 a.m. games all the way till 10 p.m. at night.
So this is the final week of the regular season. Yeah. Still, we don't know who's going to be the top seed in the West. It's going to be Oklahoma City.
It'll be the Thunder.
Have a 2.5.
It'll be the Thunder. And Wemby had a little scare yesterday. I haven't seen, the severity of the injury. I think it was a rib or something like that. So be curious to see what that is, but they will definitely wrap up the number 1 seed. The Oklahoma City Thunder will.
Okay, so OKC 1, San Antonio 2. You made an interesting point to me earlier before the show where you're like, once these seeds are wrapped up, and they've got the 5 or 6 days off for the play-in tournament, but they're not gonna risk it final weekend of the regular season. Like you said, like OKC is not going to play Shea probably the final Sunday of the regular season if they've locked up the 1 seed.
I'd say come Friday, start shutting everybody down.
So you kind of you have your week or so off to then ramp up for the start of the postseason. I mean, what are we basically determining in your opinion in the West? Is it going to be the Thunder, the Spurs? Could you envision a world where the Nuggets or the Rockets or the T-Wolves shake things up?
I'll simplify for you. Houston is going to be a waste of time. Minnesota is going to be a waste of time.
Okay.
The Lakers, based off of their situation, and frankly, I think there was going to be a lot of question marks around the Lakers, even if they were 100% healthy. Lakers won't be in the mix, and we'll see what happens with this, this Luka injury, and if he gets a chance to come back. But I would be questioning, why are you trying to bring Luka back if you're down 2-0 in the playoffs, or depending on when obviously he'll come back. And Reeves is going to be out for the first round. The only 3 teams that matter in the Western Conference are the Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Denver Nuggets.
Okay, Denver, yeah.
I'll go a step further. Really, the only team that matters is the Thunder. And the question is going to be, can the other 2 teams be in the conversation with OKC? Maybe San Antonio can, because they did really well against them during the regular season. But I'm going to give that edge to OKC because they are the defending champs. And I think there's a time where you kind of ask yourself, all right, if we got to go into full gear, we'll go into full gear. Now, Spurs have beat them
3 times, right?
It's been very impressive what they've done. I think they played 5 times this year because they had the playing turn or the
NBA Cup.
NBA Cup. But yes, everybody's chasing the Thunder. If you're looking at the East,
Boston,
I'd say Boston and Detroit are the 2 teams. Anybody that and it can happen in the East. I think it's more likely. I think Boston is more likely to go to the finals than anybody else, even though they're not the number 1 seed. But that's how I would look at it going through.
I have a question for you about the NBA Cup.
Okay.
Because we've only been doing this show for 2 weeks. Are you pro NBA Cup?
Just say this real quick. Victor Wembanyama avoids major injury, doubtful versus the Blazers, but that's good news.
Oh,
he should be good.
Obviously. Yeah.
Am I pro NBA Cup?
Yeah.
Here's how I look at it. If Major League Baseball, let's just say there was something during a 162 game season
to switch it up,
to spice it up a little bit. Maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe, you think this is the greatest idea ever.
Maybe WBC, in season tournament.
Okay.
Right.
So let's take that, an idea or a concept, that kind of model. I will tell you that the NBA Cup doesn't hurt the NBA.
Gotcha.
So I think based off of that, and you have an 82 game grind, it's almost the same as you asked me. Remember I said the All-Star game for the NBA. You're like, it's a little confusing. You have 3 teams, this, that. Yeah. The NBA All-Star game, nobody already pays any attention to. Mm-hmm. So this didn't hurt the NBA All-Star game. I actually thought it helped the NBA All-Star game. So to go back to the NBA Cup, probably not a bad idea to have this in-season tournament during an 82 game grind when everyone's already kind of paying attention to the NFL and college football during that time frame. A lot of people say they don't pay attention to the NBA until after Christmas.
Day,
Not even Christmas Day anymore because the NFL is like, we'll take Christmas Day too. So I think with that being said, I've had no issue with the NBA Cup. The only thing I don't like is the courts. The courts are annoying.
I don't like the courts either. But how do you deem, because the Lakers won one of these things.
They did win one.
How do you look at that? What
I thought putting the banner up was stupid.
That's what I'm saying. How do you quantify winning an NBA Cup? It's not like a championship.
No, it's definitely not.
But it's recognized. It's something you can't be like, well, the one thing missing from Steph's legacy is he doesn't have an NBA Cup.
1,000%.
Right, you can't play that.
No, listen, you got to take it for what it is. And here's the problem. The problem with the NBA and the NBA Cup, they tried pushing it down. They tried shoving it down your throat.
Did, yeah.
And by the way, you had everybody doing it. You had broadcasters doing it like, the NBA Cup, can't wait to. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? Right. Just let this thing, if it's going to gain some traction, let it gain traction organically.
Yep.
That was the problem with the NBA is how they wanted to market this thing, how they wanted to make it sound like it was the greatest thing. There was a lot of talk when the Lakers put up their in-season banner. And listen, I was on LA radio at the time, and I expressed my opinion. I think this is the dumbest. To have that real estate, which has only championships and Hall of Famers, like literally the greatest players to ever play the game, most of them rock the purple and gold.
And then
you put
Cup.
in season.
What does that even mean?
It was the worst thing. It's like taking this unbelievable mansion you have and in front of it putting like a chain linked fence. It's like, why is that fence there?
It
it's
just
like,
doesn't fit.
It just doesn't
it
fit.
just doesn't fit.
Don't force it.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible idea if baseball kind of took an idea or a concept in that. I don't know if there's a way to do it, but
I mean, there's a couple. Here's the thing. I think like a lot of these sports, other than the NFL, the regular seasons have become a little problematic. We live in this world where everyone wants everything in like 5 minutes. And now you got
I'm down for 30 minutes. I'm
30
very
minutes.
comfortable in 30 minutes.
You know what I mean? Like 162 games of baseball, to your point.
Yeah.
There's a monotony to it, or 82 regular season basketball games. So I understand like trying to come up with an idea that is creative and probably creates revenue as well. I understand how
creative revenue.
operate. But also it's like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like maybe there's a better way to do it. For example, even the play-in event, when you get to the actual postseason right now, where you have the 7, 8, 9, 10 right in this play-in tournament. It's like we played 82 games.
You're not wrong.
And you're telling me over 82 games, the 10th best team in the Eastern Conference needs a seat at the table?
No, you're not wrong there.
That's
I would say this. If we look, I don't think it hurt the NBA. I really don't. I don't think the play-in tournament was this. Well, because the play-in tournament's there, I'm not going to watch the NBA. I don't think that's happening. League, yeah. I'm not. But here's what I would say, because I think you said something about the in-season tournament that's important. If you're below 500, you can't get into the in-season tournament. That's what I would say.
Ooh.
Like if there's a way to just say
you can't get into the in-season.
I'm sorry. You can't get into the play-in. If you're below 500,
you're 35 and 47.
you haven't earned anything. Yeah. So let's not put you in the play-in tournament. So if that means there's a year in the Eastern Conference where the top 8 just got in and there is no 9 and 10 because they're below 500, sounds good.
Do I need to see the 36 and 42 Warriors? Like, do I need to see that? Are they really winning the NBA title?
By the way, I think that's the solution. I think the solution is what we just said.
The teams under 500.
If you got a squad that's below 500, then you cannot make the play-in tournament, and then that kind of cleans up that portion of it.
One last point before we break here.
Yeah.
And we're giving away 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place. What I just came up with an idea.
Yep.
Okay. And I'll share it with you on the other side. If you want a 4-pack of tickets, though, to Sesame Place, call right now. Caller 7. You are going. We've got a free 4-pack of tickets to Sesame Place for caller 7. Call 877-767-4760 and call right now. 877-767-4760. Sesame Place back and turning 4, and guests are invited to a birthday bash full of laughter, hugs, and furry fun. Open daily now through April 5th, which is already passed for spring break. Families can enjoy rides, the Sesame Street Party Parade, story time with Big Bird, and more. Tickets at sesameplace.com. We're here until 6 p.m. Updates on Padres and Pirates and more on Schaefer and Sliwa next, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, a final time on San Diego Sports 760.
Not like the final time, but just.
Well, you never know.
How about
how long have you worked in radio?
How about the start off the day? We were already pitching a 4-day work week. We're like, hey, we really liked yesterday's situation
of just being off Monday, just because.
Listen, we can do something on YouTube, but half hour max. We'll give you our best stuff in a half hour.
Right, exactly. We're back tomorrow at 3
We are back tomorrow
on San Diego Sports 760. Padres trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. They trail in Pittsburgh 2-1 in the 8th, so they'll have 3 outs to work with to try to get even or ahead in Pittsburgh.
Just trying to split these final 2, right? So
get
if they do lose, get home 6-6 after the 2-4 start. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Completely agree. There's something I have an idea I need to share with you. Okay. Maybe even came up in the first week of the show, but I need your thoughts on it because you have been a lifelong NBA fan and someone that's now covered the league. Here's my idea to fix the lottery. I'm dead serious.
Okay.
The 10 teams that aren't in the postseason, and maybe it's more than that because the play-in. I'm going to need something.
By the way, that's pathetic to hear, right?
There's only 10. Here's what I'm doing.
Do that in Major League Baseball.
I'm doing a lottery tournament.
Okay.
The teams are playing for the pick. Those 10 teams are now playing for the pick. So 3 plays 10, 4 plays 9, 5 plays 8, 6 plays 7.
When do we do this? At the end of the season?
During the NBA playoffs. It's going to be awesome. This is during the NBA playoffs.
Okay.
And it's similar. It's like 3 rounds. But this is one and done like the NCAA tournament.
So
We're not
you
playing
just,
best of 7.
No, there's no best.
So anyway, the top 2 get buys. Top 2 being the teams that were closest to the playoffs. 3 plays 10, and so on and so forth. Now we're down to 8 teams. And from 8 to 4 to 2 to 1, 1 gets the first pick, 2 gets the second pick, so on and so forth.
Here's the problem.
What's the issue?
Here's the problem with that. It's actually a very unique idea, but let me throw something out here. I'm Miami.
Okay.
I'm sitting at the number 8 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Now I want into the play.
I'm not making the playoffs.
Now I want in the lotto tournament.
Wait, you're telling me I got a shot at the number 1 seed? I'm not making the playoffs. I'm doing everything I can to not make the playoffs. I know. So then I could go get Victor Wembanyama that's sitting and waiting there.
Right, I was just
Cooper Flag is waiting there.
Okay.
By the way, you're going to have a ton of teams now
trying to win the lotto tournament.
Because what did we just say? We were joking around about this. I'm like, hey, here are the teams that got a shot in the West.
Right.
It's OKC, then San Antonio. If I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to get out of the mix here.
The lotto tournament.
That's the only issue with that.
Okay. But
I tried
something like that.
I think what Brent said a couple of days ago, I think there's something to it. Hey, enough of this percentages. Everyone has an equal percentage. That's it.
Everyone out of the playoffs.
Everyone out of the playoffs, you got an equal percentage, which is a low percentage to begin with, which is exactly why that won't stop people from competing. It won't stop teams from continuing to play through the rest of the season, not shutting down Giannis Antetokounmpo until there's an investigation from the NBA saying, "Well, why are you shutting him down if he's healthy?"
Why is this not an issue in like the
NFL?
NHL?
No, NFL.
I think it is though. Maybe an issue in the NFL. Just people don't talk about it, right?
I think the issue in the NFL is
don't the teams try to lose?
I think the fans are the ones saying, "Why the hell did you win that game?"
Right.
But it feels like in the NFL, it's talked about a lot less. In the NBA,
less. It's all they talk about in the NBA.
Is that just like, does the NBA have bad PR? Because I think it does have. I think the NBA does have bad PR.
I agree, but I saw something recently on social media where it said the gap between the top and the bottom of the NBA has never been wider, and the evidence was like the 10 teams with the best records against the 10 teams with the worst record. The 10 teams with the best record never lose.
Oh,
to the 10, not never.
I know what
you
you
get
mean.
my point. The winning percentage of the bottom 10 is like 10%, where in 1995 the winning percentage of the bottom 10 was like 33%. So like this gap is so wide between the good and the bad that maybe it's never been wider.
Here's what the NBA has done right.
Okay.
Freaking thing falling apart here with Xander.
Yeah, so the Padres are trying to stay within a run of Pittsburgh in the 8th inning. We'll see if they can. What happened here?
Just booted it.
Bad play by Xander.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, not even.
He's homered off Skenes, though. Whatever.
Yeah. No, it's it. He's good for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't have to do anything.
That was terrible.
Lost my train of thought. Everything was fine. I knew where I was going, and then I see Xander gets me in that frustrated state of mind.
Right. We were talking about
public relations for the NBA,
PR for the NBA's got bad PR.
I will say this is what the NBA has got right.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I was going, and then I don't remember what my point was.
I like it. Yeah, I agree.
What does the NBA got right? Oh, the NBA got right is, and you tell me how much value this has. Anyone in the NBA can build a good franchise. You can. You can build a good team. Well, just think about this. Of course, you need the right personnel, the right front office. You need all that. But I think every company and every organization needs that.
I see what you're saying. Because you're saying like the Milwaukee Bucks can win a title.
They can win a title. Yeah. Denver can win a title.
Right.
OKC can win a title.
Yeah, I agree.
San Antonio can win a title. They can all win a title. Shouldn't there be more noise around how baseball is structured? Like, how absurd are we sitting here today? How not? And maybe markets are doing this. San Diego doesn't need to be the only market. We just happen to be in the NL West and probably are the worst situated one. But how is every team in Major League Baseball not saying, yeah, you think this is the right system for all of these teams?
Right, because you're saying, like, when a baseball season starts, I already know, for example, Pittsburgh's not winning the World Series. I already know Miami is not winning a World Series. Colorado. Maybe you say the same in the NBA, though. I think heading into the year, we all knew the Pelicans weren't exactly going to win a title.
But they're all playing on an equal playing field.
True. There's a difference.
Like
There's a difference.
At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is, are you playing on an equal playing field or not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think baseball is. I think the NBA actually is. I think the NBA is playing off a model that gives every market an opportunity.
Now, do you think we get there? I mean, seriously, will we get there with just a CBA in baseball? Like the next CBA solves that?
Get closer.
Get closer.
That's all. What else are you supposed to do? Get closer.
They pretend every CBA like, hey, some of this has been solved.
But is it different now? Do you feel it's different now? Based off of, brother, look what's happened in the last 2 years. Look what happened in the last 3 years. I mean, if the Dodgers have not forced the change to the CBA, if that hasn't happened now, if that doesn't happen now,
never. But what about the Yankees of the 90s? They were spenders. They won a lot.
Yeah, but look at how many guys they were cropping through their system.
A lot of guys. 100%.
And listen, I'm not telling you the way that it was done in the 90s, it was perfect. Right. But can we at least just address what's happening today? Shohei, they're paying $2 million a year for, right? Like all the money that they're backloading. We could sit here for hours.
Let me see if I can fix baseball tonight. Probably not. Will the next CBA fix baseball? Potentially. Hopefully it gets it closer. I would agree with that.
Want to give them an update?
Padres are trailing the Pirates 4-1 now.
Morejon came in and gave up 2.
Yeah, now there's been some poor defense
I don't know if it was,
but it's going to take a minor miracle for the Padres to win this game tonight.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh, we'll react to the series tomorrow when we're on the air at 3 p.m. If you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. For Brent and Alan, I'm John.
Good work, brother.
This has been, appreciate it, dude. This was fun. We'll be back tomorrow. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.